Hey, what's up, everybody? I am here with Bradley and a special guest for our interview. We haven't done an interview in a while today. We're very excited to have. Oh, wait, can they see you? Oh, no. Okay, I thought they weren't going to be able to see. I have Marco Plouffe from Keos Masons. You guys know this guy's work, man. It's crazy the things that he has worked on. But I'm going to go through this list. I'm going to do it without taking a breath of some of the games that this gentleman has worked on. And it's pretty extensive.
And more his company.
And yes, in his company. Okay, so
do it in song format.
Oh God, guys, that's level of difficulty I can't do. All right, so ready without taking a breath. Here we go. Some of the games: Dead Space, Deus Ex: Mankind Divided, PUBG, Diablo 4, Medal of Honor, Batman: Arkham Shadow, Baldur's Gate 3, Valorant, Apex Legends, South of Midnight, Elder Scrolls Online, Fortnite, The Witcher, Borderlands, Horizon Forbidden West, Gotham Knights, I can't breathe. Also, he has worked with some of the most prestigious statue companies that are out there: XM Studios, Sideshow Collectibles, Prime One. And so without further ado, Marco Plouffe.
Yeah. What's up? Woo! Thanks for having me, guys. That's cool.
That's a lot. And you've done all that in 2 years. That's amazing.
Yeah, exactly. In 2 years.
Right. This man just graduated from high school.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
I wonder sometimes, like, if I actually had like a time machine and I would go back to my high school with like the stuff that I know in 3D, if like I would be able to actually like thrive or anything, or if it's like, well, I don't have any of the software, so fuck me, I guess.
Dude, if I went back and tried to do that, I would have like those punch cards, because that's what we had on computers back in my day, young man.
Yeah,
we didn't have good computers back then.
Sure, and you walk with no shoes.
Yeah, uphill 2 miles each way.
Yeah, everything's in black and white. It's just like
it's true.
Like with like noise.
They wore baggy pants. He's okay.
Yeah,
that we did do. Yeah.
Well, it's coming back, so I mean.
Yeah, man. So listen, I know Bradley and I have a lot of questions to hit you up with. I will give a quick kind of little story about how I became familiar with Marco's work. I used to see the Wasp on Instagram, and I loved that statue, and it was sold out when I wanted to get it. So I reached out to Marco in a private chat and was like, "Hey, when's this coming back out again?" He was kind enough to tell me, and then he kept doing the insectoid stuff, which was really dope. But that was me, Bradley. When did you first see Keos Masons and Marco's stuff?
I saw Marco's work when I was under the gun. I got an art test from Bungie, and I had to do an art test, and hard surface was not my greatest strength. And I went ham on all of the Twitch videos, YouTube videos, and in the end, I did get the job, but because I was able to see your workflow and how that went, I went on with an understanding that I didn't understand, but I did because I had your video. So thank you. My first job in the industry was at with Bungie, and I was doing hard surface stuff, and I had probably about a week's worth of training.
That's good, man. That's good.
Yeah, man.
That's a legit good story, actually. It's like I just had a week to learn and to get like the dream job and blah blah blah.
I was somewhat talented. It just wasn't in my will.
Yeah, well, man, that's good. That's a good sign. That's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, man. So we got a lot of stuff to cover here, so probably should get started on your. We want to start on your. This is first of all very casual. Want to start off on your origin story, right? Like, how did you first get into digital art and get into the game industry? I know you met your partner while you were at a game company. So you want to tell us a little about that?
Yeah, man, for sure. So basically, so I'm gonna start young, but I'm gonna go super fast. So my mom basically like told me like when I was a kid, I was like drawing all the time, and I've never really had like any academic like studies or that sort of stuff. Like my parents wanted to bring me to like classes and that sort of stuff. Like even I showed like signs that I love music, and they were like, oh, we can even give you like music classes, but I never really wanted. I just wanted to do things like my way, basically. And so it lasted like that for a while. And when I was like in high school, they were starting to tell us like, oh, well, maybe you should like know where you're going, right? Because comes like fourth year of high school, and it was probably different in the state, but at the fourth year of high school, like you kind of like have to know like what you're gonna go for, like at university and that sort of stuff. And basically, me, I don't come from Montreal. I actually come from like a smaller town that's called Gatineau, near Ottawa. And it's not that, there's not really like schools there. And at that time, there weren't any like online schools and that sort of stuff. Or maybe there was, but it was not like really something that was in my awareness. And I didn't really like pursue this at that time. It took me like years later. I went into like informatics, and I worked at the government for like 3 years until like around maybe the age of 21. I kind of like figured out that I hated my life because it's not like what I wanted to do, right? I settled for something that I was comfortable and that I knew more than something that I liked and that was a passion of mine, right? So, and my friends, like, thank God I had friends that were able to see me, because when I was like kind of like hitting like a bit of a depression, they were basically like, dude, you need to change. You need to actually like do something with the stuff that you're good at. And by that time, I didn't really like drew anymore. Like I was more into music and that sort of stuff. And even the music, it was just for fun. It was not to have a career, but it was anyways. But one of my friend at the government one time was like, hey dude, there's a open door at Ubisoft, we should go and see like how it is. So I actually went there, and I met a guy, and because I had so many questions, and the open door was not like it was teaching us how to become artists. It was more like just to show the place and that sort of stuff. But I met a guy that was like, you know what, just send me an email and I'll give you like a bit of information on how to maybe like enter like a school where you can learn the stuff and maybe you can get a job. And so he sent me an email. He sent me like a couple of like anatomy books, like stuff to study and stuff to do, and how to create like a portfolio to enter a school. So a bit like your story, Brad, where like you were like, oh shit, okay, I need to do that fast, and I need to get in, because I was kind of late in the process. There was like still like there was only like 1 month before they were closing the registration, I guess you call it, for the school. Sorry, I'm French, so some words I'm like not sure. So I had like only 1 month to kind of like study like all the anatomy that I never studied, because like I said, I never did any academic stuff or whatever. And I learned like Photoshop, and I learned like a few things, and it was anyways whatever. But I was so motivated. And a little like side note, I found like a technique at the government where like if I just drew in that direction, I was like facing off the cubicle door, so like they couldn't see what I was doing. So it was kind of like faking that I was like writing papers and that sort of stuff. And anyways, and so I used my time there. I used the Canadian tax money to make my portfolio. And
were you
basically,
born and raised in Canada?
If I was, sorry.
Were you born and raised in Canada?
Yes.
Okay.
In that hometown, Gatineau. So basically, I was able to send my portfolio, and I was accepted. And funny thing, when I actually started at the school, the guy that told me what books to read and to do this and to do that was actually a teacher at the school.
Nice.
It's just like such a coincidence. It was crazy. So like when I actually met him, I was like, dude, it's you. And it was like, yep. Kind of like an, I don't know, like some like magic person in the movies. It's like, oh my God. Anyways. And yeah, so I mean, big sacrifice. I needed to move to Montreal. I actually had a condo. I needed to sell my condo, move to Montreal. Eventually, I needed to sell my car because I needed to pay bills and stuff. But man, I've never looked back. When even like if it was a hard decision, well, not a hard decision, but like a scary decision to take.
Yeah.
I just like knew that that's what I needed to do. Like it just felt so right. And when I started at the school, it just confirmed everything. And I was like, okay, fuck that. Like I'm diving headfirst into this, even if like people were saying like, well, you know, a character artist is not something where you can actually easily get a job. There's a lot of competition. Everybody wants to be like a character artist.
Yeah.
So I was like, nah, man, you're not gonna deter me, man. That's what I want to do.
Nice.
So with that, like, what was the? So you're in school. Did you complete? Were you able to complete school, or did you like get recruited? Did you get drafted your first year and did only 1 year?
So to answer your question, yes and yes, because the school was just a year. It was it was like a crash course, and basically I think the 2 first months were basically just to figure out if you want to become like a modeler, an animator, or like a level designer, basically like the game designers. And so this is like where I basically just like figured out, it's modeling that I want to do, especially characters. And even at the end of the year, there was like like final exams that were like for like environment or props or whatever. And I did not fail those exams, but I like nearly failed them because I was like, nah, I'm doing the character one. Like I don't care.
Yeah.
It's not like if the diploma was going to be like something that I knew was going to get me the job. I knew it was the portfolio. Like, and I think it's just like in America in general, like Canada or the States, it's so you don't really look at the credential, you look at the talent. And because some countries, like I know France, they act like I thought some workshops in France, and I have some friends there, and when we talk about that, for them it's like the discussion is a bit different, because there is something about the level of study that is still like important, but I just feel like for us it's not that. And I knew it, and I was just like, dude, I'm gonna have the most like banger portfolio for like a junior, and I'm gonna get that job.
So what
Which I didn't.
What I'm seeing in like, it seems like you figured a lot of things early, like things that like people would like take a lot of time to like stumble across. And I'm just like, what did the teacher that you were interacting with help like give that knowledge to you, or just you're looking around, you know, eye of the tiger, and like I saw like I knew early on, like I know what fat I need to cut out of this process to get to where I need to go?
Actually, to be honest, there was, despite all the other teachers that were kind of like pissed at me by the end of the year because they saw I was kind of like dropping out of like certain classes, the one guy from the beginning of the story, when I came to actually see him and ask him questions like, hey, is it true it's hard to get a job? Like, is it just like a pipe dream, or like, do you think like I have maybe like what it takes to actually like get that? And he was like really encouraging, because he told me like basically it's like, yeah, no, you got it. I mean, you have a lot of work ahead of you. Like it's not going to be easy, but like you got it. Like if you push yourself, there's a good chance that you're going to get like a job, and like maybe not like out of school, but if you just keep up, like you'll get one for sure. So like that actually had fueled me a lot to do the rest, right? I mean, I've put so many fucking hours and efforts and all-nighters and this and that for like a year, but like my health was in jeopardy by the end of that year. Like I'm not kidding. But just those encouragement were enough for me to say like, okay, yeah, I'll cut the fat there and do this and do that. Like I don't know if I would have like done it so recklessly if I didn't have like a bit of like an inkling that it would be worth it, basically.
Okay. So it sounded like you were really driven to become a character artist. How long between that first year of school and getting to an actual studio did it take you to kind of land a job?
Well, you know, it could have been like 0, because when I the school that I was at was subsidized by Ubisoft.
Oh, wow.
Because they were like in a super big hiring frenzy. And so they like for 5 years they wanted to hire like I don't know, like 400 people, even more than that. Like they really wanted to upscale their stuff. So they subsidized like a few schools into like the same building. There were like a few schools inside of the same building teaching the same program. I was just part of one of the schools. And so basically, yeah, they had first dibs on the people finishing at school. So since I had like a promising portfolio at the end, like at the end it was pretty obvious. Like it's like I was good at what I was doing, and I had really a high expectations, or high hope, I should say, maybe.
Okay.
So I got the interview, and they were basically like, "Yeah, we're hiring you. Like we're not sure on what, but we're hiring you." And I was like, you know what? That's all I needed. I took all the rest of the money that I had in my bank account, and I actually paid for a trip to France, actually. So I burnt all the rest of my money because I was like, dude, when I come back from my trip, I have a job. And
Marco, my number one job is to make you relatable to the people. And you're making it hard, okay? You're making it really hard.
I was thinking the same thing.
You're making it really hard.
We're waiting for the adversity to come in.
Yeah, like I'm like the shooting star that comes once in a lifetime. The eclipse that you have to like come once every 100 years. Right? It seems like every star
the stars are lined up.
Line up.
Yeah.
And you know what, people? It's not going to happen for you. I'm sorry. It's just not going to.
Yeah, nobody else that's happening to.
Wait.
Okay.
And that's how you tell a story, because what happened when I was on my trip was that I got an email saying, "Sorry, we can't hire you."
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, man.
What? Tell me more.
Yeah,
Now
I
I'm
know.
riveted.
Yeah, there was they put like a lock on hiring people in the middle of like my trip, basically. I think like the hiring manager was in vacation, and he came back, and basically he just said like, no, we're not hiring anyone, like even like the people this or whatever. And it's like I think I sent email to the recruiter, the one that I talked to, for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks or something like that. And he was like, no, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Don't worry about it. And yeah, in the middle of the trip, it happened. I got the email that they were basically like, nah, can't hire you. So I was like, fuck, man. Okay, well, when I come back home with no money, I have to figure out what I'm going to do, right? And like, long story short, what happened is I just basically like found whatever contract that I could, like freelancing and that sort of stuff, for about like maybe 8 months. And on top of like doing my little contracts that were like just enough to pay my rent. Well, not enough, because that's when I sold my car to get like a little bit more money. So and plus it's like I was in Montreal, and there's a lot of way to get around town, so it's not a problem. Yeah. But basically, like the one thing that I did that really gave me a lot of exposition is that I did a lot of work for ZBrush, as a beta tester and that sort of stuff. I think I posted like on ZBrush Central at the time, and actually the CFO at that time saw me. His name is Yami. And basically he just like said like, hey dude, you should come on the beta testing team, like tell us how you like the tools and everything. Also, like being like a junior, I think there was like a certain value, because like they wanted people that were like veteran at the software, but also like you want people that like just started using it, right? So basically when ZBrush came to Montreal to do to have like a kiosk at some like event, well, basically they told me like, hey, do you want to be at the event and show like the new tools on the software? And I was just like, yeah, man, I have nothing else to do. I am jobless. I will go to that event and do like if I actually know stuff. And basically this is where my first boss saw me doing like the presentation, and he was like, hey, you know what? Send your portfolio to THQ, because like I work there and we're hiring, and I'll try to get you like an interview there. And yeah, it worked. And this is actually where I got my first job.
That's awesome.
So,
But
to
so
answer
now,
your question, 8 months after school, basically, that was it.
But
even
my other question is, did you enjoy the trip?
Yeah, I enjoyed 2 weeks on three of those.
that last week was not a good week.
Oh, boo! That
But
last week
my
was.
question was, even when it fell through, though, you still were able to do work in your field. Like everybody has a Starbucks story or a McDonald's story, like Pizza Hut for me, right? Like you never had to go work at whatever job that you could find until it kind of started clicking.
No, I was kind of lucky because my friends who got jobs, they actually were able to get me like freelancing at the jobs that they had. So it was
Okay.
just like studios around Montreal. Like there was like this movie studio. They needed like some assets and some props. I even worked for like a school that needed like a 3D logo or something like that. It was like
Hmm.
really like, but it was not like you said, like subway jobs and that sort of stuff. Like I
Yeah.
was lucky enough to have it like be like 3D stuff. It was not necessarily stuff that was really like worthy in a portfolio and that sort of stuff, but enough to actually just, like I said, pay a bit of like the rent and that sort of stuff. And to be
That's
honest,
good.
like it would have been safer if I got like a steady job, but I was kind of like still hoping, like holding on to the idea that like maybe Ubisoft was going to like call me.
Hmm.
Because like once in a while we were talking and they were like, yeah, it's gonna reopen eventually. It's just like bad timing, but like we're gonna try to figure something out. And even the guy was like, hey, you know what? Maybe some other department, like marketing department, they hire. So I'm gonna pass your name around. So there was kind of like a bit of a a hope there that I was given. I mean, they called me back eventually, but I was at THQ and I was kind of like happy to tell them like, you know what,
Yeah,
I have a
Hmm.
job, so
Nice.
yeah,
go F yourself. I didn't
yeah,
say
yeah.
that part,
Find the
but
biggest boulder and kick it.
yeah, exactly. I
Exactly.
wish I had the balls to say that, but then again, it
Mhm.
would have been maybe a problem later when we have Keos Masons and I wanted to work for Ubisoft.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah,
oh
yeah,
yeah, you told us
Yeah.
to go F ourselves, so that's what we're doing. So no effing for you.
yeah.
Yeah. Right. Right. Right.
Nice.
Um, so that's now we have a kind of a good idea of where you came from, how you got started. So let's fast forward now to what kind of drives you creatively, and you know, what drives you creatively today as opposed to when you were started. So I know you were hungry when you got started. You just wanted
Yeah.
to get into the field. Now you have eaten good.
And you're an old
So
man now. And you're an
you're an
old man now.
old you're an old young man. And so now what is it that drives you every day?
Yeah. I'd say that probably what drives me. Well, I mean, okay, so like these days are really special circumstances. Like I'm kind of like going through like a few things, like personally in my personal life, which are
Hmm.
kind of like taking a lot of juice. So like in the very very present, what
Hmm.
I'm looking for is, well, on top of taking care of Chaos Masons, is always like it's number one. It's my job, right? But as an artist, it can be like different, right? Since taking care of Chaos Masons at the end of the day becomes a lot of like management, and being a manager is not being an artist. Every
Yeah.
character art lead is going to
Yeah.
tell you the same.
Yeah.
So basically, to be able to live as an artist, the thing that really makes me survive or keeps the flame is really to just invest myself in like a project that I can call it like my own. And maybe like these days, for like a few weeks, months now, since a lot of stuff is happening, it's more like just like art for me is kind of like a way to, it's kind of like escapism, I would say, like, because
Yeah.
when I do art, I'm able to just like stop like thinking about everything else, right?
Mhm.
And so for me, like I'm using it for that. And you know what, I kind of like I see myself being not necessarily like the most like fast and proactive, because I kind of feel it's kind of like taking a bath. It's just like, yeah, I'm just here and it's comfortable, the water's good, and I just like to be here. So like for
Yeah.
me, doing art right now is basically just like I'm
Taking a
just
bath.
enjoying. Yeah, exactly. It's like taking a bath, man. It's
So
like
are
a
you talking about like
jacuzzi.
personal work? Yeah, right. Is that personal work or client work that you were talking about?
Oh, well, I'm talking about personal work because
So
client
you have
work
time to
is
do personal work?
well, I mean, like I said, I'm like more like a manager, so it's
Okay.
like I don't really get to do characters for Chaos Masons anymore. Like I art
Oh,
direct, I
okay.
manage, I
Okay.
sometimes I do like accounting and that sort of stuff. So
Yep.
it's it's
Wow.
um it's just like yeah, I'm wearing so many hats that
Yeah.
the time that I have to work on my personal stuff, well, I take it for me. Well, or more like the time that I have that's free at some point, I
Yeah.
take it for my personal stuff just to be able to feel like I'm creating something that I can also call my own, I would say.
Mhm.
So it changes from like complex project to easier project. Sometimes I just do like little artworks that I'm just like, oh, it's gonna be fun. Like one time I did my four horsemen, but I did them in like chibi cute characters, and I was like nobody's gonna like that, but I'm just doing it for myself because it's just like something fun or that sort of
Yeah.
stuff, right? And sometimes I invest myself in something bigger, like my Four Horsemen series or my Archangel series or the Elementalist or that sort of stuff that takes like a shit ton of time, right? But it's
Hmm.
fun, and especially when I do work on bigger projects like that, there is
Hmm.
a part of like research that I do because I just try to find like a theme that I find inspiring, and I do
Nice.
like a lot of like Wikipedia research on the internet and what's the meaning of that, how this culture interprets this character, and like I just try to get like a sense or like a feeling of like, oh, that's something that I'm gonna find like a drive in there, and then
Hmm.
I have like this pure ref board of stuff and keywords and this and that, and then like I start blocking and having fun with that, and often those projects take a lot of time, and I like restart something, like it's not
Hmm.
super like not that it's not proactive, it's not like I'm not prolific in art because I redo and redo stuff until like it fits like my vision and that sort of stuff. But I
Hmm.
just really like a lot of fun, like with the same like bath analogy that I was talking about
Hmm.
earlier. Like I just like
Yeah.
to take my time in doing that. Whereas like maybe if I do something like I don't know if you saw like when the last thing I did was a Link from Zelda, but
Yeah.
like mixed in the
Yeah.
world of Clair Obscur.
Hmm.
Well, that was not necessarily like my world, so it was more like, oh, I'll just do like something to kind of like to have fun. And I mean, my kid, he's 5 years old, and he fucking
Okay.
loves Link like so much.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
was like, oh well, there you go. I'll do something for him and a little bit for me and whatever, and
It it
we'll
looked
see.
dope. How long did that piece take you?
Oh, I mean, that's the thing. Since I can work only like a few hours per day, it can take like a freaking long time. But in general, let's say that like, let's say when I remember being able to work 8 hours per day on something,
Hmm.
let's say okay, let's say like when I did like the Batman samurai on the horse and
Yeah.
that sort of stuff. Let's say this is like an entire piece with like a horse and like the feel, but like if I just take like the character and
Hmm.
let's say we let's imagine that I was doing it for a video game, so there's like the low mesh and baking and textures and that sort of stuff.
Hmm.
Like a character like that could take me like maybe something like a month to do.
You're
Um,
human. Thank God.
but yeah,
Hmm.
but also like you have to add the feedback and that sort of stuff from the like
Yeah.
your client. So like sometimes
Yeah.
something can take so long, but it's mostly because um you're just working with somebody that wants to get like their vision really like there, and so you can have like a lot of feedback and this and that. But like yeah, complex character and that sort of stuff, like a month could be like something, I'd say probably like a 2 weeks for like the high res, 2 to 3 weeks, and then like a week for or a week and a half like low mesh texture, that sort of stuff. Yeah,
Have you
like
I
incorporated? I'm sorry. Go
Oh, I'm
ahead.
sorry, Bradley. I just wanted to ask one more thing before you hop on. So, when are you more like me or more like Bradley when it comes to personal work? So, with me, my biggest problem is that I get so into the minutia and making sure that the vision is exactly how I want to execute it, and and that I'd start burning through time, right? And it's not like when I'm working for a client where the deadline is the deadline and I'm always going to reach that. With myself, like Bradley knows, I have folders full of pieces that are like 98% done. And who knows when they're ever going to get finished, because I'm like, oh, I still noodle away a little. Whereas, you know, Bradley's the kind of guy that is like, he sets a sight on it and he treats it like a client project and kind of hits the mark every time. Where do you fall on that spectrum?
Actually, you remember when I said that sometimes I work on like bigger projects that have research, and sometimes I just want to do something just to have fun. It's both in those circumstances. Like when I do something that it is more like, let's say, like personal, or that is more like it comes from me and that sort of stuff, I can get like you. I can get like really something. Like I remember just today I had a little bit of time and I was just trying to work on like this little portion of the character, like super small, and it was like, no, the line it's that diagonal, no, it's not the flow, it should be like that. And sometimes I watch myself and I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, really, that thing that nobody's gonna see? But I just remembered, it's like, no, that's for me. That thing's for me. And there was a time that I was kind of like flagellating myself for like not being faster and that sort of stuff. And to be honest, at some point it became like pretty stressful, I would say, because I'm mixing like being hard with myself and wanting my vision to be like perfect, but I was like flagellating myself to not going fast enough. It's just you're burning the candle both hands. Like either you try to do something and you try to do it well, or you try to execute and get to the finishing line. Those are two different things. So when I do like something that is not too personal, it's more about like, I just want to get it done. I just need to kind of like, it's like I need to just take something out of myself and just like do it, basically, right? I was gonna say vomit, but it's just like a disgusting way of saying like doing nice art, but whatever. But when I work for a client, because there's the deadline, because it's not my vision, it's much easier to go like fast. So it kind of like it makes it easy to just like go and execute, and you still give your best, right? It's just you don't put your soul into it, and I feel that for me at the very least makes a huge difference.
Definitely.
Have you incorporated like ZBrush for iPad or Nomad Sculpt? Like I can imagine like sometimes you just don't want to be at your desk. Like, are you doing anything mobile when you're doing your work?
Well, I got Nomad because I with my phone I got it with like the little pen. Like,
are you serious? You're using Nomad
on your phone?
On your Android phone?
Wait, there we go. Okay, so I got a little pen and like boop boop to like do that, and it fucking sucks.
Okay. All right.
If you were gonna say you were killing it on Nomad on a phone, I would end this today. Like, that would be it.
We're about meeting over. Everyone out. We're done.
Right.
Yeah. No, man, it's just like I was really like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna treat it like something new. I'm gonna like really take my time, no judgment in that. And I just tried to do a face, and I was like, the fuck's going on, man? I just have such a hard time to. There's like a tactile thing that's not really working, and yeah. But at the end, I'm like that on my phone. And I'm like, what am I doing? I could just like get up, go at my desk and do that, and just like be on this couch right now and just take a break instead and just do like art later or whatever. It kind of like reminds me when I tried to do 3D on the VR. Because I still have it. I don't know where it is. I gave it to my dad. That's true. I had like the Oculus Rift.
Yeah.
And basically, like I tried, I think it was called Medium, and there was like another one, like another app. Anyways, I tried them, and there's something super cool about it, but you really have to work differently to be able to do something well, because it for me, it feels more like, and it's not a diss, but it feels more like kid bashing when you do like VR, because you're kind of like popping like objects in place, and that's how it works, right? The sculpting thing is like pretty hard to really do it well. But I saw some people doing like crazy stuff. Like when I was working at Warner Brothers, well, for Keos Masons, when we were working on Gotham Knights, there was this guy Andre that was basically doing some of his concepts in VR, basically.
Wow.
And the guy was like really good at doing that. Like this guy is like a little prodigy dude, like I find. And yeah, it was super interesting. But I tried, didn't really work for me. But I mean, it's kind of like at least like I gave it a shot. But but also to the opposite of like Nomad, for example, it's that. It was so fucking cool to be in the VR space and just like and sculpting, and even if it didn't work, it just felt like so cool. Like I remember taking like a T-Rex head that I did one time, and I just like imported it, and I like made it like bigger right in front of my face, and I actually had a little like scared inside of myself, like a little fright. Like a instinctual, like, oh. Yeah, exactly, because it was just like my brain was not able to like process like the virtual space, or anyways, whatever. It's like the first time I played Mario 64, I was like, oh my god, it's the future. And but or it's like the first
we had Geo on our show. Sorry, Bradley, I didn't mean to speak over you. We had Geo Nackle on the show, and he was actually working on, what were we working on, Bradley?
I believe that show. What it was.
We had topics. Geo was, I can't remember what he was working on.
Type thing he was doing.
Yeah. But Geo was working in VR, and he was killing it.
I saw some of his stuff that he did and how he did them, and I was like, man, good for you. Good for you.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, like it must be nice. You're in the virtual space doing that. It's just like I give it enough time to be like, I'd rather spend my time on something else. Like I'm happy with what I have. I'm whatever. Okay, so you know what? One thing that I did that was new. And that I was like, oh shit, okay, that's cool. Like this is going to be something I'm going to be doing like in the future. Is actually when I learned how to paint, because so doing statues like that and that sort of stuff, it's nice. But if you want to see the end product and not have it all gray, I mean, I 3D print, but like I just had like gray sculptures. If you want it to actually look like that, you have to learn how to paint, right? And I was like, you know what, that's like a project that I can actually do. And I started that maybe like 2 years ago, and I don't really paint much. I haven't painted for like 2 months now, just because, like I said, I'm super busy with the life stuff. But before that, I used to paint like 3 hours per week. And dude, honestly, there's something that I did. My last character, I did like a full character and I painted it, and I was like so fucking proud of myself, and actually I think it's pretty good, but it's the kind of stuff that like when I started doing it, I was like, oh, okay, that's something that I'm gonna appreciate, that it takes time to get to. Like it just felt like it's like, oh, okay, I can my brain can take its time with that, and there's no rush, there's no people waiting after me, and it's not like I know like a better way of doing it. So I'm just like, you know what, like it becomes like meditative almost. And my relationship was different with this than like the rest.
Airbrush booth and everything, like, is that how
man,
like so, okay.
Yeah, it's fucking nice.
I've been doing that a lot lately too.
That's cool, man. It's really great. I got a teacher that was able to show me like the ropes, and I was just able to apply the stuff that I learned to do like in Painter and whatever software, because it's like it's so artistic knowledge, right? It's just the application is different when you're using like a real life medium, right? But still, I mean, so there's some stuff you can translate.
You can make an anchor brush. and call it a whip.
Oh yeah,
I'm
man.
gonna learn now. If you can teach me, I can anchor it down and then call it up. I'm doing it,
man. Yeah, man. You can do an undo button and that sort of stuff, and all of that.
Well, nice. You know, I started off in 2D. I used to be an illustrator for the longest time, and then I started getting into 3D, and now I'm going back to doing 2D stuff. And like it is, you're right. It's like cathartic. You know, it's very relaxing to have the airbrush and go back to the roots and doing that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. There's also like a difference between like working on your screen, but like having the stuff in your hand as well. That was another part of. Well, that's how I fell in love with like just like sculptures like that.
Hmm.
Very early in my career, I knew that I wanted to work on some of this stuff because back in the day, I was a big like Ninja Turtle fan, like the action figures and everything.
Hmm.
So when I saw like some of the stuff that some companies did, like those statues, I was just like, man, that's awesome. And I
Yeah.
reached for one of the studios and or they saw something that I did. Anyways, I can't remember, but basically,
Hmm.
like I got like a gig working for one of those at some point, and when I got to see them in real life, right? Because I
Hmm.
didn't have the money to buy the stuff that I was working on because they're so goddamn expensive.
Yeah.
But I got to actually like see them one time, and I was like, man, that is awesome. Like that is really cool. And that's the reason why eventually I bought myself like a 3D printer just to be able to get those characters and whatever. And now like that I have a kid, I'm actually able to do like little characters for my kid. Actually,
That's
that's
dope.
the yeah super fun
Yeah,
part. Like,
man.
oh wait, I'm actually they're right behind me. Just give me a sec, okay? Just
Okay.
humor me for a second.
No, no,
Sure.
no.
So all right. So basically, like,
Wait, can you pin him, Bradley?
It is.
Okay. Let's see.
okay, yeah. So like basically like I did this little character here.
Bluey.
Is it?
Louis.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Nice.
Wait. You just said you have kids? You do all this and you have kids?
Yeah, man. I mean,
Crazy, dude.
at some point they're sleeping and I'm not, so this is where I get the stuff done.
Right.
My kids won't let me do anything.
They're not. Believe me, like today because of the ice storm, my kid was not at school, and I can't say that I had a good day at work because it's just like I'm just and you know I'm happy. I'm saying that it's just like I'm joking. I'm super happy to have him around, but like yeah, let's say when you want to get down to business and
Yeah.
like it's kind of like harder. So yeah, that's cool or he's like sleeping. This is where I get like my stuff done. Actually, there was a time where I was like taking time from the day and working at night instead, just
Mhm.
because I knew at night I was able to like get
more done.
to be much more focused and that
Yeah.
sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And eventually
Yeah.
I switched back. Like now I'm using my nights to chill just because sometimes like stuff gets like pretty heavy. But for
Yeah.
example, like during the month of like November or December, I was working every night. I was working and doing 3D because I just had like this like inspiration that was running wild. So I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna ride that wave. And when I get like chiller, I just calm down and I just do my stuff. But there was a time when we started the company.
Mhm.
Sorry, I'm kind of like jumping left and right
No,
on my
no,
subjects.
you're fine.
Sorry.
You're good.
No, you're good.
Okay, all right. But there was a time when we started Keos Masons, I was working like a fucking maniac, like 12 hours per day, 6-7 days a week. But I mean, it's like some people do that also just because they have like a normal job plus the freelance that they do on the side. So it's kind of
Sure.
like something that happens. But there was a time where like I was like yeah, I was working a lot, and it kind of like caught up on me. I'd say that I wouldn't be able to work this much, but there was a time I did it, and I'm happy that I did it because we went where we went with the company, and it needed to be this much time that I put into it. So yeah.
So how do you categorize? Now that you mentioned it, categorize Chaos as is it an outsourced studio? Would you consider yourself an outsourced studio?
Oh yeah,
Or
absolutely.
development
Yeah,
house?
yeah.
Okay.
No, it's more like an outsourced studio because we have a few things that we're able to do. I mean, we do like concept, we do modeling, we have rigging, and like a little tiny bit of animation, and plus like we do like characters, props, maybe not really environment, that sort of stuff. So it's not like it's like the full development of something, but we focused on what we're good at, and also to be honest, I think it's what actually made us. Like run for so long because there is so many outsourcing studios out there. It's like it's crazy. So how do you actually get to survive like 11 12 years of that? I think it's just because like we've always made sure that the quality is really like up there, right? And that gave us like a little edge over like the competition, and like we're not like this big powerhouse like Virtuos or Keywords, right? I mean, those are like giants, but still, like it's fun to know that people know us and they know what we do, because we were able to stay like relevant to this day because of that. So it's cool.
What triggered you? Like, what triggered you to start the company? Like, what was happening in your time or in your life where you're like, you know what, we're just gonna go out on our own? What triggered that?
So the so I'm gonna pick back up when I actually got hired at THQ. When I got hired at THQ, it's actually when I met Cedric, by the way. So we've known each other since my first job. Like, he was already like 8 years into like doing 3D, and he was already like a lead and eventually like a art director, right, in studios and stuff. But at that time I was just like an artist, and so I jumped from one studio to the other just because like the opportunity felt like better, or something was going to happen with the studio and that sort of stuff. Like, I mean, when THQ was, they basically told us like we might be closing, so I got hired at BioWare for Mass Effect, right? And then I actually left Mass Effect because I joined Cedric again on a secret project that we never saw the light of day, but like that project was so fucking awesome. Like, I mean, to leave Mass Effect, I mean, it needed to be like really insane, and
But it was Andromeda though, so.
Yeah, well, I mean, I didn't know that at the time, but dude, if I would have stayed on Andromeda, it would have been fucking awesome, man.
I'm sorry, I have the caveat. I work for EA. I think everything we do is amazing.
Yeah.
Yes. There you go.
There we go. Yeah, man. But I mean, it was still nice. Like, I was really excited at the time, and the other project looked so cool, and I basically just decided to go. But then that project got canceled, and they put me on Mankind Divided, which was nice, but it was the end of the production. Then they put me on another project, but that project got canceled, and at that point in my career, I was like 5 years into my career, and I had almost pretty much zero like professional portfolio to show, because either like I jumped ship too early on something, or something got canceled, or that sort of stuff. So basically, at that point, I was talking to Cedric, and I was on the same project as Cedric, actually, and we were also teaching at this school in France, because we had a friend there that was like the owner of the school, basically. And we basically figured out that we were good at teaching, and we were good at doing 3Ds, and there was a need in outsourcing. And Cedric, Cedric's really good at like seeing where things is going, and he's really like avant-garde, I'd say, in like a lot of things, right? And he was just like, you know what, man, and we already had like freelancing gigs, right? So we were like, you know what, if we're able to like find like a client that would be like willing to send us like a lot of work, like we could basically just like start our company, right? And we basically like talked to people, and when we realized that like we had this client that was able to give us a chance, well, we basically were like, you know what, I think we should consider doing that. Like, that contract that we have is going to be enough like to feed us for like maybe like 6 months. And within those 6 months, we can just like start advertising to people we know that we're an outsourcing company, and to give us work and this and that. And basically that's how we started Keos Masons. So it was like a huge decision again to leave like our job. And oh my God, dude, the day that we gave our letter of resignation, the day before, Cedric was like, hey, show me your letter of resignation. So I just sent him the file, and then the next day we were like, okay, so we're gonna give the letter of the resignation. Should we like go together? Is it weird? And he was like, it's weird, but yeah, exactly. Let's hold the hands. Exactly. Dude, at that point, me and Cedric, we were like hanging out together a lot, like doing like groceries sometimes together, and going like at home. We really looked like a little couple. And I know that the joke was already said, because some of like the past like interviews we did for like ZBrush or whatever, like there's like this like vibe between us. It's like, what's going on? What's going on? Okay. And basically, but so yeah, we went both of us together, like give the letter of resignation. And I noticed that he just copy pasted mine and just changed his name. And I was like,
that's funny.
And the HR guy saw the first thing he saw. It took him like 1 second, and he was like, "Dude, you could have, like,
you could have tried.
Come on,
your own. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, come on, dude." And I think it made him laugh more than anything. But whatever. I mean, so we started Keos Masons like that, and like then we just basically, by that time, we've worked on so many projects that we just like basically told everyone, "Hey, outsourcing needs. Whatever, let's go." We've did some freelance for people, so like we were able to actually like tell them, "Hey, you know what, you can hire us and whatever." And like it didn't start full force, because at some point, like, also we at the beginning we were just me and Cedric, and at some point we hired maybe an artist, 2 artists, 3 artists, so it ramped up and it went like pretty like steep, not steeply, but like constant, I would say, right? But it was just like one contract after the other, like, oh, add an artist right there, add this or that. But since we were working at a school, we basically had like this arrangement with our friend, and we were like, "Hey, when they're done with school, if they want to work for us, we're going to be more than happy to be part of like the people that like see their portfolio at the end and this and that." And it's like, it's people that we were teachers, so it's like they know.
You were their Ubisoft.
Like, we were their Ubisoft. I feel very awkward saying that, knowing what a couple of things that Ubisoft did to people.
Yeah.
But
In a good way.
Exactly.
You made the shit correct.
Exactly. And then they Ubisoft me, and they...
So I have a question for you, but this is like a side that it's bugging me. Who came up with the name Keos Masons, and what does it mean?
That's such a fucking boring story. It's really just...
Okay.
No, but
I wasn't expecting that, but okay.
Yeah, it's not boring, actually. It's just that we couldn't figure out, like, we had a name. Our first name, we wanted to be Osmosis. That was the name we wanted to be. Like, I find it's cool. It has like,
you guys
it's snappy.
Are a married couple.
Exactly. It's like us together and whatever. So, like, we wanted like to have like osmosis, and the idea was that because we were able to do like stylized, realistic, sci-fi, medieval. Like, we've always been able to. We were always versatile, basically, and this is one of the things I'm really proud of saying to myself, is that I love to do a lot of stuff. I don't know how to do everything, but like I'm really versatile, and so basically, like, I was like, yeah, osmosis is cool because it's like the blend of everything, and it like equalizes and blah blah blah. But like basically our lawyer, or our corporate lawyer, was like, there's too many things that are named osmosis, and you're gonna, like, somebody's not gonna like it. And just in Quebec, there's so many, like, anyways, whatever, like, figure out something else. So basically we were like, okay, well, we looked for names, and we couldn't find something that we like. I liked something that was like about like making, using your hands, like maker, mason, like something like that, right? And Cedric was like trying to find something that has to do with like many ideas, like chaos and that sort of stuff, right? So we were like, oh, okay, well, we could like try like just like blending two of our ideas together. At the end of the day, we're two guys trying to make one thing. So if like this name and we match them, well, whatever, we can go for that. So Keos Mason came from that, and we just didn't want to write it like chaos, like the normal way, just to be like, for one, to be just a little bit more fancy, but the two is just, it's not the idea of like chaos as in like evil and that sort of stuff, right? So basically, like, we're just like, yeah, Keos Mason, like that. It's going to be original enough. Nobody's going to have that name, and there you go. And basically, our lawyer was like, still like, that's still not a good name because like it sounds too English, and there's laws in Quebec that like your company has to like sound French when you say it. So basically, he was like, at this point though, it could be your alias, like, but just change it for like another name, and the
Mhm.
legal name of the company is like stupid, but it sounds French. It's just a
Yeah.
mishmash of our names together, but
Nice.
basically Chaos Mason, it stayed at as like an alias basically.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's how we ended up with
Dude,
that. But
So, Mike, what
when
I'm
I
learning
tell
from
you,
this, hold on, Mike, what I'm learning from this,
okay,
we do need
yeah.
to go to couples therapy because they're able
Never gonna
to
happen. Never gonna
agree
happen.
and
You're not gonna make me look bad in front of a
compromise.
therapist.
You know,
it's
I
No
think,
all
way.
about communication.
you know, I think our audience is right. I think we need therapy. I think we need.
No way. Hey, listen, Canada does not play when it comes to like some work things. I used to do stuff with Corel, right? I was doing like Corel painter work, and I had to go there for a commercial, and they stopped me like at the airport. They were like, "Hey, what are you here for?" And I didn't say just pleasure. I was like, "I'm here to work." And the dude was like, "Wait, what?" He goes, "Yeah, I'm doing a commercial for Corel and everything." He was like, "They couldn't get Canadians to do it." I was like, I just they just asked me to come. I don't know, man. But dude pulled me aside like TSA, and he was not letting me through. And so I called the guy. He's like, "Say you're here just for pleasure. You're just visiting somebody." So I tried it. The guy just gave me this real mean mug, and then he let me go through. But I was like, I've
That
never been
is
My
so.
funny.
God.
But he was so pleasant. Like he was mean, but like in a Canadian mean, like very pleasant kind of guy. Like I was like, okay, all right.
Maybe he was just like fucking with you, and he's like, "Ah, he's taking it too seriously. It's just a
No,
joke."
I talked to my man at Corel, and he was just like, dude, they don't fuck around when it comes to work. Like you guys keep it tight, which is nice.
Yeah,
But
yeah. Well,
anyway,
that's
so
true. That's true that there's like in terms of like people coming in and stuff, there has to be a reason and this
yeah,
and that sort of stuff. All right, so
yeah,
which is in a sense it couldn't be a good thing. It could be just like a fucking annoying thing like on the other end for sure. But and there's
yeah,
like laws and like I said, the laws for like the language, which I'm by the way, I'm just gonna say I really like that there's laws to protect the French language
sure,
because like
totally.
we're in the total of like Canada we're a minority. In
Hmm.
Quebec it's like kind of like half and half, like the big like cities, it's there's a lot of people that
Wait, Canadians are
like
French?
speak. Well, I mean, the ones in Quebec and some places like around the other like
Yeah.
province, but it's really like very small like communities and stuff. But the like I'm happy that there's like they're at least like trying to just like
Okay.
preserve the language and that sort of stuff. It's just that, and I don't want to get too political, but like some people get like way too defensive, and then it becomes like they're gonna steal our jobs and that sort of stuff, right? So at some point it's like, okay, chill out. We want
Yeah.
to keep speaking French, but like don't fucking go yell at somebody that's like having a hard time to speak French because he just learned like 2 weeks ago. So just like be nice a little bit.
Do you know where we live?
Where you
Oh,
guys live? Like
Well,
in general,
in
or
general.
like
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
like
in
in
because
general.
general.
I know where your house is.
Okay. Like in general. So you're
Yeah,
good.
so
In general,
yeah,
well, I'll take yours. I'll take yours.
So
yeah.
I
I mean,
was
it's
gonna
pretty good.
ask you. So I was gonna ask you about. I'm reticent to even ask you, man. Like it sounds like you have not had any real hard kind of like any real struggle. I'm looking for the struggle is what I'm looking for. So I want to ask you when it comes to Chaos Masons, you guys have worked on some amazing projects. You know, AAA game companies, the best statue companies. Are there any stories that you can share about any particular projects that were like especially rewarding or really difficult? Have you had any difficult shit in your life,
Oh,
Marco? Because it doesn't
dude.
sound like it, man.
Yeah, I mean, my struggle, like to be honest, like like if you want to talk about struggles, my struggles they're more like
Oh,
in align with like like self-esteem and that sort of stuff, right? So we can get to stuff like that if you want, but just to answer like maybe like the more concrete question first, like it happened to us like a few times to have like difficult clients and have a really like a hard time to deal with something and feeling like we were basically like thrown under the bus, or that we were just like being like being abused maybe in a way, just like not capital A abuse, but whatever, like there was like something like just like not fair in like their relationship, and like there's sometimes we've lost like I don't want to count in terms of like money because it's more than just about the money, but like we've lost like so much money with like stuff that didn't work out, and plus like the stress and of the like the relationship and how to get out of it, and like the post-mortem. Anyways, like there was some stuff that happened that were pretty bad, and of course I'm not gonna like name names and that sort of stuff, and just like to stay like professional and whatever. But it's like small studio, big studio, there was some pretty bad stuff that kind of like happened, and then we're like, fuck, how are we gonna like recover from this? And that's like, is it really our fault? Like, what did we do? What was blah blah blah? And anyways, but the I'd say that like one time that was like, it was like super challenging, but at least it was rewarding, right? Was when actually to bring back this project, Gotham Knight. This was like, I mean, I went to go talk to the producer, and they were like, okay, we need like, I think it was like 14 characters in 3 months. In 3 months, okay? And I was like, okay, well, it's like 2 months per character. So it means that I need to find 14 artists, because like you cannot like crunch like 2 characters in 3 months, and
every character is like a hero character for that game, so it's not like it's a background character.
Well, I mean, in the test we were doing, we had to do like I think 6 hero characters, and some were like NPCs, but they were like important like cinematic NPCs. So like they couldn't like be bad, anyways, whatever. And so I said like yes, and I was like, okay, now I have to figure out how I'm gonna hire 14 artists in one shot for one project, like no ramping up. It's like right now, right? So I was able to like wrangle like a good couple of people. We already had maybe like 8 available artists, and I needed to find like 6 others or that sort of stuff. No, it was more like 6, and then I ended to find 8. Anyways, whatever. So basically it shat the bed. Like maybe like 5 artists, they were not able to like get to the level of like quality, or they were just like not interested, and they stopped like working. And so I was just like I did by myself. I actually worked maybe 16 hours per day for like 2 months. 7 days a week. Like I was burning out by the end, because I needed to do the characters that the people didn't do, and I was able to maybe get like some artists to do like 2 characters or whatever, but like it was such a hellish situation. And I was kind of like being honest with the producer. I was like, we're gonna be able to do it, but I'm just letting you know it's pretty hectic. But basically he saw all the efforts, and by the end he was like, basically like he gave me like actually gave me that statue right there as like a trophy, just to say like, dude, thank you for like all your work. It was really great. And basically when they started the production, they called us back, and we had this like huge 2-year contract with them where we did like really awesome characters. Like I really love the characters of that video game. Like they were super badass. And so we had like this like huge contract afterwards, and I was like, man, okay, it was one of the worst 2 months of like my professional career in terms of like the heaviness of the work, but it was really worth it at the end. And I'm still like,
that's a lot of pressure, because following like Arkham Knight was great. Like the characters of Arkham Knight was great, and I think you guys matched the level of quality with Gotham Knight. So like that bar was already free. Like Arkham Knight looks great even now. Like you boot that game up, you think it was made like
still dope
this year.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I agree. All the Arkham series was like so great, so I knew that like the bar was like high, but like no, I mean I was happy with that, and you know it's like we don't get to work on always on like the hero characters of the game, but like when we do, man, our artists are so pumped and they're so happy, and it's like when we worked on Dead Space. I mean that one was like a really great project as well. We did basically 95% of their characters, and like the house team afterwards, after like integration, they worked on the integration and redoing the textures and that sort of stuff. So it's like I'm saying we did 95% of the characters. The internal team actually was like heavily there to support us, but still it was like really cool to be able to work on all of these characters for that project. It was super rad. Plus, we did all of the Isaac suit, like the main character. Like we did pretty much all the suits. So my artists were like so pumped.
All right, so I can attest to the changing landscape of the industry right now, and I would ask, like, so what do you think creatives should understand about kind of the forces that are driving some of these layoffs with the studios? Like, it's the gaming industry has always been volatile, you know, like you make a good game, you make a bad game, the game comes out, you get fired. You make a okay game, the game comes out, you get fired. You make a AAA fantastic game and it comes out and you get fired. So like, what if it's someone who is just getting into the field, like what kind of advice would you give a person about adversity and how to kind of, you know, stay the course to make it in the industry?
Well, I mean, this is the perspective coming from like somebody that's been an outsourcer for like 10 years. So like I at the base level of that question, I don't have the same kind of like what's the word in English? Appartenance. It would be like not own, like the opposite of like ownership or anyways, like you're not part of like a team or like a project, like even like inside of a project you're there for like a little while, just while you do like your characters, and then like when you're not needed you're exactly, like there's like a detachment that exists at the base level of like my my job or my circumstances. And so at time, like I could be frustrated that like we're disposable and that sort of stuff, but it's just the nature of the beast. And if the moment like we don't work for like this project, well then we can go work on the other project and whatever. So I mean there's that, but I'd say that if I just look at like other artists that maybe are in the similar circumstance as me, I always see the same freelancers being hired there and going there, or being like doing whatever they want. Like they're always just like going around on like different project and that sort of stuff. Like let's say I want to go like hire like one of the artists. It could be like, oh, I'm working on that project now, or I'm working on something, and it's just like what it is. So this kind of like come and go of like having a job, not having a job, being on this project, this project is kind of like something that I'm used to in general. And I was kind of like, when things were going like better, I was still frustrated about like the whole like project cancel and this and that. Like I was just lucky enough, I guess, in my circumstance to be able to just like, okay, well then we go on that project from that company, or like, oh well then I'm just gonna get hired like somewhere else, and before this one like gets canceled, right? So I think that I kind of like have a bias in general about that.
So can I pose the question a different way?
Yeah, sure, absolutely, yeah.
How would you advise someone who may be getting tired of how the industry is and want to shift to being more on the freelance side of it, and just like, you know, instead of being married to a studio, how can I get into the freelance work? Because at that point, from your position, work is work. Regardless of what studios, if one thing closes down, then the goal is to get another thing closed down. And what you're saying is that you're normally seeing the same freelancers going around. So how could someone transition into that type of work?
Yeah, I think that it's, you know what, I'm going to give the same advice almost that I would give to somebody that's kind of like just finished school and that's figuring out how to get work. It's basically, you have to make yourself like needed, and the best way of doing that is just to show like your skills on the like the platforms where you know that recruiters are looking at. And so basically, like, you know those answers already, but like ArtStation, LinkedIn, I'd say LinkedIn, but LinkedIn is more for like the HR people that are don't know art, and they look at
Yeah.
like profiles and stuff. Like I'm being mean right now, but like the reality is that it's not like the project leads that go there.
Right.
And to be honest, I feel that like most of the job that I got or that we got at Keos Masons was because of like the lead that's talking about us, and they're like, they tell the HR go get them and that sort of stuff, right? So yeah, whatever, like a little prejudice there, but like from experience, I feel that's how it worked for us. So basically, you need to make yourself like needed, and for that I would say that it's really just a question of like the moment that like you don't like have like a job, you just like you need to do the same thing. You pump up like stuff on like the ArtStation, just like a new piece and that sort of stuff. You try to stay in the limelight, basically. You could even have like a Instagram or Twitter and just like show some work in progress and that sort of stuff, because like work in progress on ArtStation is not really like the place to put them. So like you just find another social media to kind of like stay like relevant and seen, and maybe like the time that like somebody is going to need to hire somebody, well, maybe they're going to see your work in progress, or they're going to have seen your finished piece on ArtStation, and they're at this point they're going to contact you. Because something that happens, and you know what, I'm going to talk about that subject being on the other side of the fence, because I hire people. Like we have our list. Every people that send a portfolio, we put the name in the portfolio with like some description. But like when we need something, we just really go through like everything. And at some point, there is kind of like a factor of like, what's the recent stuff we received. There is like stuff that we kind of like rate as in like, oh, that could work well on this project, or let's like remind us ourselves, or oh, that's really good if we have a project that's medieval soon and that sort of stuff. So there's kind of like tags and that sort of stuff, but there's also like a principle of like the top of the pile, right? So that's why I'm saying always stay in the limelight, because recruiters, they work in the same way. I mean, they're human, and they basically like sometimes just go for like the thing that like they remember. And this is something that like I've been told like at the beginning of my career. So for me, it was always important to keep just like doing work just to stay relevant, and so that people remember you, basically. And I think that by staying visible, while you give yourself the chance to be reminded by like people and then like hired and that sort of stuff, right? So
so don't disappear into the night. All about work, quality work, and I would assume networking as well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you have the chance to actually go like to like this conference or this or that or whatever, this always helps. And the networking is unfortunately something that's kind of like, for some people it can like be hard, like especially let's say you talk to like whatever, like a Filipino artist, and he's like, how do I whatever mingle with people from EA? Well, it's like it's kind of hard, but in this way I would say, well, then try to be a beta tester for ZBrush, and maybe we'll see if the same thing happens to you that happened to me, because that's how I got my networking at the beginning. You do this, and then you get you get invited to go to this conference, and then you meet people there, and then those people like they meet and they whatever. So yeah, there's a certain like circumstances that can help, but dude, honestly, there's some people that I know that they don't have PR, they don't have the chance to do like those kind of like mingling with people or whatever, and I just know them because their stuff online is really awesome, and I see them, and it's like, it's just like doing quality stuff and being seen can go a long way for sure.
Have you noticed that the landscape has kind of changed a little bit now, and it's really not only difficult, but it's super competitive. People who have been working all their lives are finding themselves, laid off right now, and things just aren't clicking. Like, what kind of advice would you give someone who, say, is a stellar artist who's been doing it for a long time, and now just has kind of fallen onto hard times and can't get a job and is putting out resumes and all that other stuff? Like, how do they make their way to the top of your viewing list for like Keos Masons? Like, say an artist comes to you and tries to work their way up.
Right. Well, I mean, I'm like, okay, so first of all, like what we're looking for, sometimes it's like we can be looking for like top people, because like top people, we need them for like management and lead and that sort of stuff, right?
Sure.
And sometimes there's just not like an opening for that, and sometimes we're looking for people that are just like here, and maybe not like juniors, because like we get hired to do some pretty heavy stuff, so like maybe juniors is kind of like hard to hire a junior. So sometimes there's just like a profile that exists, and it's like, yeah, we're kind of like looking here because this doesn't fit and this doesn't fit. So there's like a tight is a very like narrow area that actually fits with the people working for us. But I can answer the question more broadly if I don't really like see it through the lens of Keos Masons only. Just like in terms of like the industry in general, something that I've seen, and I don't know if it's going to be answering for most cases, but I'm just going to go with something I've noticed, is there is so many artists that are like so good. Like I'm just like, wow, man, they are like skilled, they're really good sculptors, but it's like, but they cannot do textures in Unreal, so I can't hire them.
Right.
And it's like, you could say like, well, maybe they're just so good and you hire them to do the high res, and you find someone else to do the retopo and the texture. I'm gonna make somebody super sad. Exactly. And just to be able to work for us, it's kind of like the promise of working with Keos Masons is that we try our best, and we're pretty good at giving you some really cool work, right? Like the people coming for us, like they don't tell us to model like toothbrushes and that sort of stuff. Like it's like, no, it's like demon armor for Diablo, whatever. It's cool, it's badass. So I'm not going to go and like hire somebody and say like, so you're gonna do like the shit work for the demon armor, okay? So like you thought you were going to have fun. No, sorry, no.
Right.
And
no match for you.
This other person's gonna do the texturing, and this other person's gonna do the UVs, and you're gonna do the fun part.
Yeah, exactly. We kind of like, since we started like the beginning, the moment we started the company, there were like core principles that we like abode by. Anyways, and it was basically like seeing through, like, since we were artists, there was a few things that were super important, and we were like, we're not going to ask somebody to do shit job. We're not going to like centralize stuff and like you do the heads, you do the boots, and you do the low res. It's like, no, we know that like an artist needs to be like interested and passionate by his work, and we're really trying to make sure that people that like work for us, they're happy that they're going to be working for us, because like, anyways, at the end of the day, if you want to bring it back to like a selfish thought, if my artists are not having fun, they're not going to stay, and I'm going to have to look for another artist and like maybe teach another artist afterwards, and it's going to like suck and that sort of stuff. So we're like, you know what, if everybody's happy, best case scenario.
Sure.
So like that's what we're like aiming for, and by hiring somebody that's like the master sculptor but like can't do like retopo, it's like, well, we're kind of like fucking up like one of our core principle. And
Sure. So
it did happen. I'd say that that's
flow.
something that happens. Like, so I see like a lot of artists that are like just really good, or for example, another example, somebody that's like, he can do like anatomy better than real life, but it's like, how many gigs do we have to do like a naked body? It's like, no, you do a naked body one time at the beginning of the project, and then it's like the rest is like people with like clothing on and that sort of stuff. So it's like, it's like maybe a boss that.
And that's if you're not getting a scan of one.
Yeah, and plus exactly, like there's like some stuff, especially when you talk about like production and stuff.
Yeah.
Like the moment you can cut corners and stuff, they're gonna do it because they're gonna want to put like more stuff into it, and like their like scans is like something that's used like really often and that sort of stuff, right? So it's like, yeah, well, I mean, except for when it's like the anatomy is like the centerpiece of the, like, let's say for example, like in a game, the boss is like whatever, like Bane from Batman, and it's really about like fucking fibrous like muscles, and it's cool and whatever. It's like there's not a scan that exists of that, like you need to model it. So this is where like the artist comes in, right? But for like whatever, like PUBG, like our characters, it's like, we're gonna use a fucking scan for like the base, and like it's all about doing the outfits that comes afterwards. So it's like, well, the artist that's like I said, that's like better at doing anatomy than real life, well, it's like, unfortunately, there's not a job there, because like we're gonna hire the guy that like knows how to do Marvelous, and well, that's also a good artist, because Marvelous is not the answer. Like, some people use Marvelous, but like the clothing doesn't have personality, or like the refinement that like needs to be done and seen through the eyes of like a veteran artist. But I'm gonna hire the good artist that does Marvelous, because unfortunately that's the gig that I have right now.
Sure.
So, and the last question I have before we get to your artwork and maybe open up some files, how do you feel about AI affecting or impacting the art industry? Like, well, so from your standpoint, like outsourcing, that like what are your attachments to it? What are your thoughts? Like where are you on the spectrum?
Yeah, it's I am not at one place with that thought. I am like scattered, like in so many ways about like this subject. It's such a huge subject anyway, base level. So like I'll start with like the closer to my industry, and then I'm gonna like zoom out a little bit. But like in terms of like my industry, I'm like, so my relationship with that is that like I personally, in terms of like my personal art, I don't really like to take shortcuts too much, but sometimes I do. And like I would want to actually, for me, use something that just does what I love to do myself, right? I've tried to use like Midjourney and that sort of stuff, and I was just not finding the drive when I was using like prompts or this or that or whatever, right? So I haven't really relied on this for like my own stuff, just because it's not what I'm looking for in terms of like my own journey and my fun with that sort of stuff, right? At the same time, dude, I mean, when scans came out and Marvelous came out and that sort of stuff, and it was just like kind of like going away from the sculpting and doing something else, I was still like, well, it's a tool, so like I kind of like need to know how to use it in case that like I can elevate myself, right? Because the idea is that like it's the same idea as like if like when they created like digital sculpting, and sculptors were like, the fuck is that, man? You're not using your hands and this and that, and like to a point it's true, right? But it's like, okay, well, I mean, I come from a place where like I have the technology that I have right now, and I've been very happy in my process as an artist, and like I'm without comparing myself to anybody else, I'm happy where I am with the things that I do, right? As long as like using the tool makes me like vibrate inside, well then I'm happy with that, right? So basically I think that the question about AI is basically like, well, how will we use the tool? What kind of like artist will use the tool to be able to accomplish the work is really like something that's going to define like how we're going to be using it later, and how it's going to feel, and the result that's going to come out of that, and this and that. So it's kind of like I'm at a place where I don't really like the tools because they're not talking to me, but they're kind of like, you kind of like have to know them, and just even just to know your enemy, basically. Like it's kind of like important, right, in a sense. So there's this aspect. The problem though is that if I go now I go outside, and I go outside of like the industry. Like in general, I think we have enough technology as it is. I don't think we need more technology. I don't believe that they're like necessarily pushing us in the right direction.
Yeah.
I'm not going to become like doomsday guy, because I'm kind of like I'm an optimistic person, like in general, right? But for example, like my kid, like I basically tell him like, so there's bad computers and there's good computers, and when you grow up, I'm going to guide you and explain to you how like there is good computers and bad computers and good people and bad people, and like there's stuff like that. I'm looking at it, I'm looking it grow and see how it becomes, right? But there's some stuff that I already know that I'm going to be like, that's kind of like it brings you to a place where you don't need to be. Like for example, like social medias, like I've stopped using social medias except for like sharing my work, right?
Sure.
I'm happy using it for that because I'm happy reaching to my audience this way, right? But like there is so much filth on social medias and stuff, ways to like waste your time or make you paranoid or like just like make you depressed. And I'm just like, wow, okay, I had to learn that for myself. So like a kid, and you give him an iPad with no supervision, he's gonna like just you might as well just like give him like fucking meth and that sort of stuff. Like it's gonna fuck him up. Like you need to be guided, and you need for yourself, you need to know how to guide them. So you need to know what you think is good about the technology and not good. And I don't want to like start to recycle Jurassic Park quotes, but like so much stuff is created that I'm just like, is it good? Like, is it really good?
Like in my stance on like you what you put into yourself is what you focus on. Like half the time I don't know what's going on unless it's art related or a video game. Like so someone has to tell me that it happened, and I'm like, and I kind of like being that way. That way, like if it's not art related, I don't know, like fill me in, I guess. But yeah, I'm kind of the same way. It'll drive me nuts.
Yeah, exactly. To be honest, like I have so many people around me that like are like of different fields, and like one of my best friend is like a researcher of like a reporter researcher and that sort of stuff. So like when I really want to know something, I just like ask him. It's like what's going on there, and like basically he tells me, because like God knows I'm not gonna go on like Twitter to just like what's going on in Iran and that sort of stuff. Like God knows I'm gonna get some like bullshit comment and some racist stuff. So I'm just like, fuck that. No. So basically this teaching, I just want to make sure that like I can translate that to my not translate, but like I can give that to my kid, basically, right? Pass it down, exactly, right? So to come back to AI, I'm just like, okay, well, at some point there's going to be like a point where I'm like, okay, well, AI is good for that, and it's good for that, and this is how you harness AI, and that's how you become an artist and then use tools correctly and blah 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 and whatever. So there's going to be this. I just feel that like we're so in the beginning of like this like relationship that I'm just not sure of like my full opinion on that. I just know like a few core factors that like I want to keep in progressing in that direction. The only thing that I'm super pessimistic about, it's more like how much I'm just gonna say like buzzword, like global warming. It's like I'm not like the most like green dude on the planet. I recycle, like compost, sure, but like I'm just not super cool about like just like basically like hot boxes that just like overeat just because you want like a picture of like some dude with like shit on his head because and you can't Photoshop it yourself. So like I just I don't know, man.
How many jewels were used to make that monkey talk? Exactly.
Yeah, well, it's that. So
for me, it's interesting because I like you mentioned the whole sculpting digitally thing and kind of the controversy between traditional sculptors and digital sculptors. I went through that with Photoshop back in the day. Like I used to illustrate, and I was scared to tell people that I was doing it digitally because I didn't want them thinking, oh, he's just pressing buttons and the picture's made. So I didn't tell anybody for like the beginning of my whole career that I was doing things on, you know, in Corel Painter or Photoshop.
Yeah.
You know, fast forward to sculpting, same thing. And then I remember people getting computers, and you know, not to meander like the old guy in the room, but I remember people get computer, like they get a Mac and they'd be like, I'm a graphic designer because I have a Mac. And I'm like, shut up. No, you're not.
Exactly.
So,
well, you know, we kind of like had like this discussion with like kid bashing, where it's like people were like, "Oh, you're kid bashing. You're not like, you don't draw for real," and that sort of stuff. And I know a few artists that kid bash, and they do like fucking awesome stuff because they actually have the essence behind the tool, right? And that's back to what I said earlier. It's like, oh, dude, okay, I'm gonna give you an example, okay? Like today I was working on a character that I'm like working on, whatever. I'm so cryptic, right? And basically the this character, there's a part of the character.
What is the character?
No. Maybe I can. No, maybe I can talk about it a little bit. It's just I'm doing the so my Archangels series. I've always like put only 3 characters. Even if like they're series of 4s, and I'm working on the 4th character. So there's like I've never felt like the 4th character was like really good enough, and I found that like already the Archangels are kind of like a team that they each look like each other because there's a certain order in their presentation. So like there's like strong similarities between their designs, right? So I was like, well, a 4th one is starting to be like a little bit like too much. Like they're basically like so homogenous one with the other, but I found a way to make the 4th one really different. And it really fits well with like the lore that I have the back of my head when I do those characters and everything. So I'm basically working on the 4th Archangel, and I'm having a lot of fun with that. But so to go back to what we were saying, there's a piece on the character that I've modeled so many times, but like I can't reuse parts of it, or I can't reuse it because it's just not the same shape and the same this and that or whatever. And it's not the stuff that I actually like the most to do. Like I kind of like feel that it's going to be like just like long and boring to do it. And there's at the back of my head I was like, I would use AI for this. I don't have like the tools really, or I don't want to really go through that. But there's like a part of me that's like, I think I would use it like at this instance. And you know what? It wouldn't make my character like, oh, it's a fucking sham or that sort of stuff, or it's slop. It's like, no, it's just because I wanted to integrate like that part to actually like get it done better and that sort of stuff. It's kind of like when I decide to use Marvelous for something. Like I don't super like to do Marvelous, but I recognize what it does really well. And sometimes when it does something that's really affected by gravity and volume, I'm like, well, I'm just gonna shoot it in Marvelous, and it's gonna do it in like 5 minutes instead of like sculpting it for 3 days. So I'm just like, for that part there, like let's go with that. And I feel super comfortable with that because like I did all of my like fucking cloth studies. I know that I would be able to get it done like by hand, or at least like good enough, right? In a place that I'm comfortable with. But I think that this journey is important before you start using shortcuts. So somebody like at school, I would tell them, like I did tell them actually, that like if they're gonna learn Marvelous, well, get to know how to sculpt it for real first, because you're not gonna know what you're looking for. You're gonna just like basically ask the software to tell you what you're looking for, and this is where like it's gonna break. Like you need to have you need to put intention into what you're doing, otherwise it's not gonna work. It's the same principle as like, you know, if you make like a straight line or a diagonal, or a line just in the middle of a straight line and diagonal, it just feels off. It's like, well, it feels like there was no intention. It feels like you missed your...
And you won't know what you need to take out. Like a lot of people realize when they go into Marvel, it's like you're not keeping, like you don't need all of that. Sometimes most of it, you're taking a lot of it out.
Yes, exactly. So it's kind of like, this is why you need to like have like an artist, a skillful artist using like a tool in order to have it make sense, right? So I don't know. I mean, I guess this is the hope that I have in regards to like this new technology coming in. It's that like, well, the real people that are going to be able to really do something good with them are people that know how to do it for real. And to be like a real artist, you kind of like need to go through a certain journey of like studies and this and that, and you can't study by just always taking what a computer tells you, right? You need to kind of like, you need to get your spirit to understand it, and your mind, and this and that, and this goes to, it's the same way. You need to put your, you need to get your hands dirty, basically.
Yeah. So I want to put a pin in that, because I feel like we could talk about AI all night. There's a million questions I want to ask you about that, but I think we need to move on to your artwork. But before we do, because like this is the part I'm excited. The talking part was great. I want to get into your process and your head and all that, because I watch you do your streams and I love the process. Like, it's awesome. So I want to get into that. But before we do, I just have to ask you this. So I noticed that a lot of your technique is kind of, I don't see you using a lot of the new tools in ZBrush. And I wanted to ask if you have a favorite, anything of like the past few versions that's come out that you really have gravitated towards or really liked, like say like ZModeler, or, you know, I see you using ZModeler a lot. But like, do you have a favorite feature of any of the new versions of ZBrush that you couldn't live without now?
Yeah, actually, it's the clothing tools. I actually really like them. The way that you're able to like squish a volume, but it keeps like its volume, basically. Like you can squish a shape and it keeps its volume. So it actually like helps you to do like cloth and that sort of stuff. Talking about Marvelous, like I said, I hate to bridge into like another software and that sort of stuff. So have like the fact that I have it in ZBrush, I really like that. Anytime that I have like a simple compression somewhere, especially like something like a sleeve, or let's say like a glove, like I'm just gonna say it, but like, I don't know if you remember on my frog character, like in one of the stream, I basically showed how to do like a glove, and basically the glove, you just do like your shape up to here, and let's say you want your glove to be like short like that, you put it there, and then you nudge it with the cloth nudge just up, and it basically just like wrinkles it like up to the wrist, basically, depending on the radius of your brush, and it works super well to do just like a compression. And this, I was like, oh, thank God! Like, I'm really happy that they actually gave me that, because like sculpting X's and just to have like the compression done and that sort of stuff can get like tedious sometimes, especially if you have to do it like
people like you and Brendan Isaiah Bingston make me angry. I'm sorry to cut you off. I have to cut you off because I got a rant now, because there are things that ZBrush does, and you guys get it to work really, really nicely. I can't get the cloth deformation stuff to work properly, and you make it look so easy, so that angers me.
Well, I mean, did you put like yeah, no, I understand. Did you put demonic sigils on your Cintiq?
I forgot that part.
You gotta harness the power of Satan, man, or else
Oh my God. Okay, if my wife is watching this, he doesn't mean it, baby. He doesn't mean it.
Where do you think my soul is right now?
That's why
you're so successful.
Exactly.
Right.
He made a deal.
Early on.
I have eternal defilement in hell when I'm dead, waiting for me. So like, I'm harvesting everything that I can right now.
Crazy.
Let me tighten you up real quick.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. So you guys see this?
Nice.
All right. So by the way, just want to say the joke about the demonic sigils. What I actually wanted to say is that in ZBrush there's so many things that are like don't work super naturally, and I kind of like had to like tame the beast. That's what I really truly wanted to say.
No. Keep on it. All right, don't try to fix it.
Don't backtrack.
You know how many people are now gonna be like, I need to sell my soul now. That's the Your next stream's gonna be like, your next stream's like, what sigils did you use?
Yeah, exactly. Just go to your neighborhood death cult and they're gonna tell you.
Yikes.
Dude, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And like quick save. I'm doing a quick save in a wonderful time. I want you to
Marco, I want to actually paint one of these guys. I am gonna one of these days get one of the insectoid guys, and now that I'm airbrushing again, like I would so be excited to paint this.
That's cool, man. I'm one day I'm gonna paint one of my insectoid as well. It's just that it's a lot of like work. There's so much like trims and stuff like
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
but it can be fun. I saw a guy painting my wasp, and the guy, like, I sent him an email and I was like, man, that's really cool, like what you did. And it's like, it's a professional dude. He's been doing it. He's still doing it. And I told him like, oh man, do you think you would do it again? I have some people that like would be interested. And he said like, nah, I don't think I'm gonna ever do that again. It's so much work. Like,
Yeah.
the price is so high just because of like the complexity of the thing. And I was like, yeah, I kind of like, I understand. It's not made to actually like be able to, you can hairbrush in volume so easily, and it's kind of like complex, but whatever, it's fun. Looks
So
good in 3D.
But your goal for this, like, is this like when you're making this, was this goal for something you're going to do cool and render, or is this going to be printed, like something for 3D print?
Right. Well, I mean, that's a good question, because when I start a project, I kind of like decide in the beginning if I'm going to actually do it for print or not. Because if I don't make this decision at the beginning, to reverse it afterwards can be a shit ton of work. Like, for example, the Link character that I did recently, this one I was like, nah, I'm doing it for Unreal, because I have no intention of printing it, because it's like an IP, it's not me. Like, I know some people like they sell their Zelda stuff on like Etsy or whatever, and who cares? Nintendo's not going after them. But I'm just like not super comfortable doing that, so I knew I was not going to print it. And since I knew I was not going to print it, well, then I was like, hey, I'm just gonna go and not focus on like, oh, the thickness of that, or how is this gonna hold, and that sort of stuff. Otherwise, there's like a lot of like learning from like working in the collectible industry that kicks in. And I'm like, okay, well, if I want to do like something like here, I have to make sure that like it can like go up, and there's nothing obtruding the way for the neck, because it's gonna be blah blah blah. And like the arm, I have to think about like the back surface of some like pieces, and like this is not working.
The thing is 483 tools. I've never seen so many tools in this.
Oh yeah, really? It's
At least they're nicely grouped. You're not a
I know.
Where are you? Yeah, that's the most organized I've ever seen anything.
Oh yeah.
Where do you see the subtool count, Bradley?
At the very top, if you scroll up at the very top of the card, 483.
Wow. So Marco, I've seen you make these, and I would tell you that, first of all, the thing that always, like this series especially, that I always love is that you are making them very, even though they're mechanical, they're, I mean, I just have to say it, like they're sexy, man. Like they really, the pose, the curves are really, like Bradley says that when I sculpt butts, I got a pretty good butt game, but like your butt game is pretty freaking up there, dude.
I like butts. I'm not going to go and say that it's not true. But I like to say it in a way that it sounds like I'm not like a perv. It's like, you know, it's a beautiful anatomy, the behinds, all that stuff. But it's.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say that the you know, when I do like a character, I really use my like anatomy knowledge, even like when I do a mech character, because I think that the human beings have such a relationship with like the human form, and when you can actually have it even in something that it's like a mech or something else, even just the shape of an object, it just like translates its understanding really well to the viewer. And there, I mean, and you can change the shape, you can play with it, you can go stylize, you can blah blah blah, right? But the relationship with like a form, especially seen from afar, and the treatment of a surface is two different things that you can mix and match. Cedric actually did a speech about that at like one of the ZBrush Summit, where he showed like one shape that he did, and then he did 6 different treatment. And some were robots, some were like organic, some were like more human shape and that sort of stuff. And it's basically just to show that like a shape is not necessarily like destined to be made for like hard surface or this or that. Like maybe I could contradict myself with some examples, but in most cases I find that like if you're like giving yourself the permission to just create the shape first and then figure out what you're doing after, you're kind of like helping yourself to go through the process without putting too much like obstacle in your way. So when I do my my character, like if I just like maybe load the blocking, I always keep my like first blocking if I can. No, this was like the base mesh that I started that I did not even end up like using. Sometimes I start from a base mesh and I just like, fuck it. I just like start from something else afterwards.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, there we go. Okay. So this was one of the versions here of the blocking. And if you look at it, it's basically like just like the forms and this and that. There's an earlier blocking I wish I could have where like I didn't even start to do like the line work and this and that, and you could think that it's just like a stylized naked chick in a sense. Oh, I think it's with the mantis actually.
So, and it looks like you get like from a design perspective, you get a lot of it in your neutral pose before you start. Like even in your like your Dynamesher, like there's a lot of the design that's there, and and it looks like a lot of refining that gets it to the final stage.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. I do a lot in the T pose. I actually do everything in the T pose until it's something that has too much to do with the pose. Yeah. Like let's say it's a cape, and a cape really like I want it to flow in the wind. Well, there's no reason for me to model it in T pose because it's like I need to start from like a dynamic shape basically, so it's like that would be a waste of time. But a lot I do it in this like pose first, or at the very least I do it in the blocking, and then when I pose my character, if it's a character that's going to be posed ultimately, I pose my blocking first and I see everything that's going to be influenced by the movement, so then I know if like they need to have more flexible shoulders or if like my shoulder design is fine, because like the Wasp, for example, you would never be able to lift his arm. There's like too much shit happening like around the shoulders, but I don't care because like I already knew like the pose was going to be like that. If I'm going to work and then either work for an animation or like a specific pose, then I'm going to go through not the gauntlet, but like go through the process of really making sure that like my things are flexible and this and that, and it's all about like knowing what you're doing, the reason why you're doing what you're doing. I said earlier that like if I know I'm going to 3D print, I'm going to work a certain way. Well, it's because like if you know what you're working for, then it's good. The same way that like how close are you going to render your character is very important to know sometimes in order to be able to ignore some details or some parts of the character. Dude, I could load you a couple of characters that the backside is not finished because I'm like, there's going to be no like renders from the back, so like who cares? It's not important. Actually, you're making me want to load one of those projects.
Your characters to pose them? Do you have a rig at any point? Any of your characters, or everything's
No. I really just pose the blocking, and then when I pose the high res, I pose like almost like parts by parts. Like I'm gonna pose maybe like the torso until some part of the arms, and then the materials are broken.
Nice.
But like for this character, it's like, oh wait,
I'm about to say,
I did the backpack. Fuck. Okay, I was sure. I was sure that I did not finish this character. I was sure that I. Okay, well, whatever. Bad example, but anyways, whatever. Believe me, man. Believe me. I just wanted to say, you see how like you see like I kind of like poly painted like the materials and stuff, but ultimately like the shape is like, except for like a few things maybe here and here or some lines, the shape is still like fully like organic, and you see like I knew I was going to do like a mechanical character at some point, but like you could easily take this shape smooth a couple of details that I did and use it for like a real enemy or like a monster or a creature or that sort of stuff. And I love that relationship with the shapes versus the treatment and the final result and blah 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 whatever.
Let me ask you this. So I would say that from where I'm coming from, like this is the signature, Keos Mason style. I don't think anybody really kind of does it like this. I do see, maybe, influences from someone like a Mike Nash or something with the fabric over the robotics. Is he somebody that you looked at and kind of were drawn to his work and said, hey, I want to see what maybe this looks like on my stuff? Or were you doing it while he was doing it? Like what, any coincidence to that at all? Or
well, actually, okay, so first of all, to answer your question, yes. Okay. I loved what Mike Nash was doing. It was such a sad day when he could not do more than he was doing. And seriously, a lot of like what he was doing, I was like extremely influenced by it. But the thing is that I was, and it's the same for like almost every artist. I've always been inspired by like an aspect of what they were doing. Like I would never be able to tell you like this is the artist that inspired me.
Sure.
Because there was always like, oh my god, I love like his visual language with like how he separates his plates into many blah 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 whatever. Like I'm just like saying random stuff, but you get the idea. It's just that I've really kind of like had a grasp on my style. I was like studying so much of like other people's work or even like something outside of like 3D art, but I was just like studying like bits and pieces and I my brain just like captured what he loved about this and what he loved about that. And I ended up making it my own sauce. But yes, there's artists that you can pinpoint for like certain stuff that like they were truly like an important aspect of my learning. Like for example, like Furio Tedeschi, I actually had the chance to be his friend because he actually moved to Montreal at some point, and him actually was a huge influence on me and also Cedric. He was one of the, like even before Cedric was one of the first one that was doing hard surface and ZBrush, and it was really rad, and we loved it. So it was really an influence on our method, and for me it was a bit like the shape language as well. So that was really nice. But dude, there's like at the back of my head there's some stuff that's there forever, like Metal Gear Solid. I mean, she has so much Metal Gear Solid on her, and I didn't have one single reference of Metal Gear Solid. It's just like, it's just there, man. Evangelion. What's one of the characters that I did that looks like Evangelion so much? I don't remember, but anyways, there's so many. It's an inspiration that's there. Like when Prime 1 asked me to do the Evangelions, I was just like, yeah, man. I mean, I don't even need the concept.
How long did it take you to become really? Because like you look incredibly comfortable with this now. Like you figured it out, right? So like how long? It's incredibly complex, and I've watched your process and just tried to try to wrap my head around some of what you do, but you make it look so simple. That's how you know, obviously, that a person is mastered the thing. How long did it take you to get here?
Like when I did the Wasp, I feel like I connected like a lot of things that I was trying to figure out. So I think that like so when I did the Wasp, I was like so proud of my work, but I still had inside of myself that little feeling of like, am I going to be able to redo something like that? And I remember having that feeling also when I was a kid. I had like a booklet, I guess you call it a booklet, whatever, just like so it's like a book, and inside there's like plastic like sheets, and you put like papers in it to just keep them like protected. Like how do you call that? a booklet. Anyways.
What do you call those, Bradley? The like the plastic sheets you put papers in a notebook, in
Like
a binder, just like a binder.
It's like a binder protective.
I think
sleeve.
a binder.
Yeah, okay.
I think it's
Okay.
it's binder that I was looking for.
Oh,
So I had like this binder, and when I was drawing something that I was really proud of, I often had this feeling of like I'm not going to be able to redo it. Like this was my one time that I'm going to be able to do something awesome. So I was like I was putting it in this binder, and often I was not even going to try to redraw something like that, just because I was like I didn't have the self-esteem to tell myself like, yeah, it's inside of me. I'll get it done, right? And I've often had this like feeling existing inside of me, right? It's something that I needed to combat when I was doing my 3D. So even when I did the wasp, I was like, oh shit, I will never be able to do something awesome like that ever again. And I didn't really try to do like another insectoid for like a little while afterwards. But when I did the wasp, I was still able to mix and match stuff that for me were like results of like long studies.
Yeah.
So, and I was really happy with it. And it's kind of like later when I started to do stuff again that I realized, hey, I'm kind of like always close to the style of the wasp. When I did, I mean, biomechanical characters at the very least, right? So this is like when I started to realize like, okay, I think that's the moment where I really like defined like my style basically. And the rest just happened naturally, I would say. So I'd like to answer your question by saying that I think that it's when I did the wasp that I started to really be like comfortable, and the rest was just like, or not comfortable, but like that I was able really to harness and make my style. And I think the rest was just like a self-esteem issue of like thinking that I don't have a style still, and I need to continue researching. But like even with all the research, I feel that I always ended up like somewhat close to like that style. Yeah. Does it even answer your question? I have the feeling it doesn't answer the question.
No, it totally does. It totally does. So I love this piece. There's so many pieces of yours that I freaking love, man. But do you think you could show Death? Because that's one of my favorite pieces of all time.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. I'm going to close this
As
one
you're
because
doing this, what's your hardware? What's your computer specs? Because 438 tools is nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah. Oh no, for sure. I don't remember.
Nice.
I don't want to press something.
Nice.
Okay. I'm gonna tell you something though. Okay. So basically, I think it's like first of all, I know I have 64 gigabytes of RAM.
Okay.
Because I tried to have 128, but it was crashing my computer, so that was a no-no. Oh yeah. It's just, I think it's just because of my motherboard and that sort of stuff. Yes. Oh, wait, I'm just.
Are you using like a Threadripper system?
If I'm using what? Sorry.
A Threadripper? Like, I'm curious what your CPU is.
Yes.
Like,
yes. My.
Oh, okay. I had a feeling that you're running a Threadripper because that's the only thing that can balance like having 64 gigs of RAM and then being able to like the heft is coming somewhere and it's Threadripper. Okay, cool, fantastic.
Yeah, it's a Threadripper thing. I just don't remember like the specs. Oh, actually, you know what? I think I have them on my Twitch page. Actually, give me a sec. About. Oh yeah, there we go. PC specs: AMD Ryzen 9 7.
Okay, so no, not Threadripper. 7950X. Okay.
Yeah. I know.
Okay. Nice. Nice.
Yeah. Not. Oh, I changed my graphic card though. It's not this anymore, but it did not change anything. I bought something newer, and it did not help me at all. Even in Unreal, I had like problems where like my textures was not loading fast enough when sometimes my camera was moving, and I figured out it was like my VRAM that was the problem, and it was not, because I bought a graphic card with more VRAM and it did not fix the issue. And
were you virtual textures? Did you have UDIMs?
I tried everything, dude. Yes, it's UDIMs that I have.
The virtual
I swear to God, I tried everything.
Yeah.
Like with my new graphic card, I realized that it was not even using my entire VRAM. It had enough, and it still created the problem. And to this day, nobody has been able to help me with that. I went on all the forums.
It's because you have too many UDIMs. Like it's trying to stream in, and you had too many.
You know what? Oh, yes to what you said, but my friend who has a character with the same amount of UDIMs never had any problems.
Really?
Bradley never has a problem, and I always have a problem. We have almost,
I fucking hate that.
Not almost identical. He has a better GPU than me, but it's the same number. His is just liquid cooled.
Yeah,
I have all the problems.
I have all the VRAM. Like I never have any problems.
Yeah.
So is it that I should change my CPU and that's gonna help?
I will tell you this: if you were to have I think what helps me is because I have a 3D cache on my CPU, and your 5090 does not. Your 7950X does not have 3D cache. 3D cache would definitely help with the process of loading all those virtual textures.
Okay, so Brad, can you email me a suggestion of a CPU?
You won't have to change your motherboard. It'll fit on the motherboard.
Oh, thank God. Okay,
you will not have to change.
That would be awesome. Okay, that's fantastic. I'm gonna remind you. I'm actually leaving myself like a post-it or something like that.
I'll message it to you.
Yeah,
all right. Brad CPU.
Is so dope, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
Oh yeah. So this character, like, first of all, this character has a lot of meaning for me. Well, not the character itself, but like the project. I can't load with the texture because it changed the materials. Anyways, whatever. Or I could, but it would take me like a second. Or actually, you know what? Is it?
You could show it on. What is it? XM or Prime 1? Prime 1, right? XM.
Oh yeah. Well, the character. Yeah, I could load up like the renders, but I think that like if I just like I do.
Why does this look like? So this looks more complex.
If I do this and this,
the last one, but you have so fewer tools.
Oh yeah,
this
one
on the details on this.
Yeah.
This one is just like some characters are like loaded up all together. I think the base is. Oh no, that's the final base. Actually, it's not super like subdivided to the max with like details, because I knew that like it was going to be for print, and at some point for the prints they can't really like they can't really print all the details correctly, so it's better to have like very intense but larger details sometimes.
Yeah.
So it ended up like being actually like a smoother, like you see, like it's not even like really like lagging when I turn the character, and the character is fully loaded in the machine. Like, okay,
is that decimated or no?
No, there's no decimation in this one. This is like the entire character.
Count? That's what I want to see.
Oh, 3 million right here.
That's
that's not right.
Can't be right. That's got to be for one subtool.
No. That's oh, it's not 3 million. Sorry, 300 million.
Oh, okay, all right.
Like you're not gonna fool us.
Like, what kind of outfit are you using over there?
Yeah, exactly. Like I would be like the worst like seller in like a shop or something. Yeah, this only cost $3. Oh my God. Like, well, I'm not talking about the zeros afterwards, but whatever. You're right that like maybe what I could do is actually
how
load.
Much of depth did you have done in a pose before you posed it? Because like his poses looks really dope, and I'm curious how much you had to redo or what broke.
Yeah, I can actually load the character in its T-pose before I show you. It's going to be a good example. There we go, turntable.
I didn't notice on the horse he's got like a mouth thing on his neck. That's crazy.
Also on his belly. Like, his belly is also like technically like he's like split. He's split open from the peen to the mouth.
Yikes. So you came up with all of these characters yourself. Like this is all your concept, and then you sculpted them, right?
Well, that's the thing. It's that I'm. By the way, I'm gonna come back to your question, Brad. Yeah, this is kind of like my pet project. No, pet project. How do you say that? Like whatever. It's like my achievement. Let's say like it's really that project because it's truly something that I did. There's even like a little video that they did to promote the character. It's really something that I modeled with the help of one of my friend who's working in the industry because I wanted to do like a series of character that was possibly could be printed, and I didn't know like who could be like my partner. I didn't know if I was gonna do it like myself, but basically I knew I wanted to do something that was printable, and I always had this idea at the back of my head to do like the Four Horsemen if they were to come back like in the year 2000. Like what would they look like, right? So like this whole idea of like technology bad and that sort of stuff, it's kind of like an idea that I always loved because there's some truth in it, like we spoke about it earlier. And basically like I was like, okay, cool, like what would they do, and like how would they harness, like I mean, like why would they do that, and like who would be their allies? And I was like, oh, okay, well I guess that it would be like the robots that are using a deformed form of nature because the humans did not take care of nature, so hence the mutated horse that's getting ridden by a robotic death android. Well, basically the idea is really like, okay, well we're coming for you, and because of like you can't handle like what you've been given, basically.
Do you get enough hugs?
Even
Do you get enough hugs?
Yeah, a little bit.
What's your process for coming up with something like this though? Do you do sketches? Do you go into Photoshop and do like concept art? Are you just kind of shooting from the hip in ZBrush and finding the forms?
I do. What I do is I do a lot of research, like on like Wikipedia or Google or whatever, and I try to find stuff that like is inspiring, just to get like a little bit of a drive. I think did we talk about? Oh, or maybe we talked about that before the recording, eh?
Yeah.
But I try to find like some kind of like keywords or like an idea of like a story, like a mini story of like why they're like that, and I just try to find like something like a backbone that just give me enough drive to then start like going into visuals and stuff. So there is, when I do like a big project like that, maybe not like if I was to do like this like demon character, like it's just like I just want to do a devil, and well, I was inspired by the song "The Devil Went Down to Georgia." So this is the reason why I did like the pose with like him with the fiddle and everything. But like this, there wasn't really like much like research into it. I was just like inspired by a song, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna do like the model associated to the song. But when I did the Horseman, I was like, well, there's a whole like mythos behind that. There's a fucking religion built like around this. So like it has meaning. It has like interpretation. It has so many stuff, and I just really wanted to get the depth of like how people portray this, but also I never lose track of like the cool factor. Like I'm still doing like, it's high fantasy that I'm doing, right? It's rock and roll. Like it's this character, you could have like the Four Horsemen song from Metallica play behind it. Like there's a certain cheese to it. So I don't want to sound too pretentious when I say that I do like a lot of research, but I do need to actually feel that like there is drive behind my idea so that I don't lose steam in the process, basically. So once I actually did that, and it doesn't need to last like a lot of like days and stuff. It's just the moment that like you just have enough of a backbone, I just throw myself into it. And the way that I started with this character is I just did a few like thumbnails just to get an idea of the like the final pose. I just like wanted to know like, okay, well, do I want him like heroic, like hero warrior with like the horse galloping up? Like I saw a picture of like Napoleon, and I was like, oh yeah, that kind of like that Napoleon riding the horse to victory pose, I was like, that's the one that I want. So I just like thumbnailed just a few shapes and make sure that like the general composition was like good enough, and that I know that like if I wanted him to be like a skinny guy or like a big bulky guy, and how bulky, like how top heavy. So like I did like a few like thumbnails really quickly, but like really basic, just to get like super silhouette, whatever. And then I straight up went into ZBrush and started to like do like the anatomies of the androids before they have their armor. So now I just like really get their shape, their like archetype shape and stuff. And afterwards I started to like block their armor and stuff. And this is where like I probably have like a file that I can show you, like death, base, boot.
But I'm so confused. So you are getting this out of your head essentially in ZBrush. You're not like, there's so much high frequency detail going on here that, and I've seen you do it live and I still don't fucking understand it, dude. Like, how are you figuring out, like, I would be spinning my wheels like crazy trying to figure out, okay, how am I going to execute this armor in a way that looks futuristic and yet still kind of medieval or whatever. But like, you're just laying down the stuff like you did it before. Like, this is your second time doing it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess it's just by layers. Like, my brain really understands it really well when it's like just going by layers and doing like this was my anatomy that I started with for death. So basically, I was just like, okay, well, how much like muscle versus like mechanical bones do I want to put in there without thinking too much, because I didn't know how much was going to be visible, but I still just wanted to have like an idea of its shape. And then on top of that, I just created like a second body that was like inside, and I just like sculpted on top of it to have like the volume popping out. So you see like some volumes inside, some volumes outside, right? And I just started to kind of like just like draw shapes. Sometimes I draw even just like the lines, and then like I add the volume on top, so I get like the line flow to flow in the directions that I want. Or for example, this one, I knew that the armor, I wanted it to look like a skull face. This is why like the like nose here, the teeth, the eyes, that sort of stuff. I knew that I wanted him to look like those kind of like necromancers that have like skulls on their armors. Whereas like War, I was like, okay, he's gonna have like the medieval armor, like the dark paladin like armor. So this is why like this one doesn't have like those faces inside of the armor and stuff. But I kind of like had this like idea, or at least the idea came in my head while I was like starting to draw like a few shapes on the characters.
Are you using symmetry, like because all your stuff is perfectly symmetrized on armor? So are you like moving the arm, like making it center, or using the new symmetry where you're setting symmetry and modeling the armor piece?
Yes, I use the symmetry thing sometimes, but it's often at the end, at the end of the process that I will be using it. Often for like the tibia and that sort of stuff. Like on this character here, I think I did use it for like the knees, because I knew that the knees were going to be symmetrical, and it's like such a shape that needed to be perfectly aligned with the cylinder at the end to actually make sense when it rotates. That like there, I was like, no, this one I'm going to be like anal with it, and I really want it to be symmetrical. So I did actually work the knee in the knee in symmetry. I think the elbow as well. This one was made in symmetry. Using the not posable symmetry, but dynamic symmetry, or local dynamic. Anyways, this one here.
I still do it the old school way, where I'll take the armor piece and I would just take that one piece and put it in the center row, then I place it later.
Yes, I mean I still do that sometimes for some stuff, but I find that I don't have this much shapes that are symmetrical, except for like on the entire body, that I end up off.
Right? Aren't there gauntlets? Like when I'm referring to like on War, like on Death, like all of the gauntlets were very symmetrical.
Yes, you're right. And I think for Death, he actually has symmetrical gauntlets. So I did the entire gauntlet with the dynamic thing. Actually, maybe not in the blocking. Like in the blocking, you can see it's not fully symmetrical, but anyways, I mean, at the time of death, that tool did not exist.
Yeah.
But yes, to your question, I do use it, especially with faces. Since faces are symmetrical, there's really a sense of like making it symmetrical for sure. But yeah. Yep.
You get a lot done in a pose, like a lot,
Yeah,
a whole lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
You see,
how
like,
you're gonna break things, because it's a lot. Like, even for me, that's a lot. Like I would probably not pose it so much because of how much I would have to rework.
yeah. Well, I mean, to this question, and I'm coming back to the same question you asked before I started to open the images. But if I take the character in its T pose before posing, we can see how much work I put in. What death? It's probably
Bradley,
this one. Base.
I think Marco's kind of doing his posing like how I did my Venom, where he's ripping off a part and then posing it and then kind of filling in the gaps and stuff like that. So you can, is that right or no?
I don't think he's breaking anything.
Oh, you're not doing that on some of the. I thought on some of the characters like the spider, you were like tearing off arms and moving them and stuff like that. No.
Well, yes. When it's time to use Transpose Master to do the final posing, is that what you mean?
No, like, are you ripping? Like, are you cutting the arm off, separating and moving, or are your geos still connected? Like, is the body?
Yeah, is all intact, or are you kind of ripping off a part and then moving it?
No, I'm not ripping off apart anything. I'm keeping the meshes as is, but I prepare the character before the posing to make sure that, like, I could, if I know that I don't need to show, let's say, like, how the shoulder is connecting to the torso, because there's enough like there to hide. Basically, I just have to make sure that like my blocking is anatomically correct, right? And maybe I even like place like a naked body in this area just to make sure that like it does make sense. But the high res itself, sometimes I'm just gonna actually place like I'm gonna cut the arm, or the arm is gonna actually be already cut in advance, and I'm just gonna place the arm like by itself over like the blocking that I know has the right gesture and shape and everything, and it was already like confirmed to be anatomically correct with a naked body that I also posed over my blocking. So sometimes I have my blocking and a naked body in place of the pose to make sure that like nothing is like overstretched, because I don't have like I don't see my references correctly in my head. So I do like cross-reference things, but like when I'm ready to pose my high res, there's no more questions of like the shapes it should have or that sort of stuff. And to be honest, sometimes if I need to kind of like bend something, even if it's hard surface, there is like a certain leeway you can have where like I cheat often and it doesn't really show. Like I know what, like for example, like a circle, if you bend it, you see it right away. It's like the moment it becomes slightly ellipsical, whatever, it just doesn't look right. But if I pose the rest of my shape, like the let's say like the this shape, if I like move it around, do I have layers before it? No, okay. Like if I move this like this, okay?
Yeah.
Like here, now it looks wrong because I stretched it. But this part here doesn't look wrong. It's just that part that looks wrong. So if let's say I actually create like a morph target and I repeat that, like I do this, oops. Okay, and this like, oh, this part doesn't look good, this side we don't care, but this part doesn't look good, well then you just go and you kind of like morph target like back just where like the perpetrator is. Perpetrator?
Yeah.
Well, the
That's
where
right.
it looks wrong, basically.
Yeah.
Because here
I'm
it's
looking
like
at his
really...
arm, like how in the hell did you bend his arm at the bicep?
Oh, well, it's just like a mishmash of cables. So like, who cares? They're cables, so they're like flexible, right? Like I made sure that like everything is kind of like flexible here, and also sometimes you see that like this is my actual high res and it doesn't really look good, but that's because I was like, when I'm gonna place the real high res, I know I'm gonna fuck up everything here, and I'm gonna need to resculpt it. So I just posed it in the final pose, and then I was like, okay, well, how destroyed is it in the final pose? And then I just like sculpted it in the final pose, what needed to be redone so it looks good. So like hazardous areas like the shoulders or like any other like flexion pivot area, whatever, this I kind of like assume that there's rework that needs to be done there, and I never really commit to the design before I finish posing my blocking. So, and once I pose my blocking, I see how destructive this area, well, how much destruction there's going to happen in this area because of the pose. So then I either change my design or I don't polish right now, and I'm just like, oh, I'm going to polish later. Especially when it comes to like robotic characters, it's like, because of the plates and everything, and this is why often I do sliding plates. Like, I just want to remove his head for a second. You're going to see what I mean.
As I look at all the work you put into this, my guy would be stiff as hell, man. Because I'd be damned if I'm going to do all that and then even try to get like a little bit of a twist to his torso and then throw off everything. I would be so upset.
Yeah, I know. What, dude, to be honest, before I pose a character, I often have like the feeling of like, all right, here we go. Before you bungee jump, basically, I'm just like, all right, well, it's gonna suck for 2 days straight.
You do would be so good with a rig, because with a rig, it'll be a lot easier, I think.
Yeah, but I don't know how to do rigging, and I don't want to learn, so I go through the process.
Character Creator 5 to the rescue.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? It's not true that I don't know how to do rigging, because I actually did my devil character that I just showed you before. I actually had this character rigged with Character Creator so that I can just like put like an idle animation on top, so there's no real like big animation for sure. But I did do these characters. Where are they? Yeah, there we go.
Those are dope.
Wait, there you go.
Did you say you printed these for your kids?
No, I did not print those for my kids, but it would be something that I would do, basically.
Okay, so the character, the animation and rigging, was this like a test to see how the Character Creator will work with your stuff?
Yeah. But it's cool. Like I still experimented with like springs. You see like his jaw is like a spring, so it kind of like bounces when he walks and stuff. And but I got lucky with a few things. But I did kind of like learn to like separate my stuff and whatever. And it was fun for the exercise. But I was like, if it gets more complicated than that, then I reached like my limit basically with those, and I'm happy with it. But for such a complex character.
Yeah, the armor really stayed it's good.
All right, well, part 2, we're going to look at your Character Creator process.
Oh, man, I would not recommend it. There's some stuff that I do that I'm like, you don't know how... Well, it's just because there's so much like cheating, and it's like it looks good for like that pose and that sort of stuff, and I'm just like, nah, man. Behind the scenes is a fucking mess. It's you see, but you don't, dude. I was talking about painting. That's something that I painted. That's a
nice.
That's a real video.
Nice, man.
Yeah. I basically use. Yep, they're airbrushing, the frickin' dry brush, the washes, this and that. Like, that's like awesome. I learned my technique and stuff. Like, I'm super happy, and but you can see like I'm using my same rendering techniques when I do photography, and because like some people were like, oh, is it like your render again? And I was like, no, that's my painting. It's just I render in real life with a camera the same way that I would do it like here. And of course, there's a bunch of stuff that's different. Like I didn't really do like the same greens and the same this and that or whatever. But like at some point, I was just like, whatever. It's good enough, and I'm happy with how it turns out. But yeah, this is like my new little like passion little thing.
That's awesome,
like
man.
I can bring a character to its like finished look without needed the help from like anybody. I can do like the concept, and then I print it, I model it, and then I print it, and then I paint it myself, and I take photos myself, and like I'm really just like happy with like
What
being
print are
able
you
to.
using?
It's the M7 photon
Okay, Anycubic,
monophoton.
yep.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah, Anycubic, exactly. Yeah. And yeah, no, I'm just like super happy with like the idea of being able to do something all by myself, because you know we work in the industry with like so many people, and all the work we do depends on so many other people that at some point it can get like a little bit exhaustive. So it's nice to be able to actually just have something for yourself that you're just like you have like the full control on it and stuff. So it just like it helps in like in the entire like spectrum of like everything you do, that people depend that you depend on like people and stuff or whatever. And whatever this is like I actually did this character because also I wanted to learn how to use like XGen for the hair. It was like my first time doing hair and stuff, and yeah, it was cool. Like I was afraid of doing hair for like the longest time in my career, and I was like, at some point I just need to to do it at least once for real. But
I saw a note on
cool.
this. Did you? I know you use the Metahuman texture, so that means that the head gel is Metahuman. Is the body? Are you using Metahuman's body rig for this character, or just the head?
I tried, but since I'm using decimation for the low res, it was too high and it could not like follow. It like Unreal was crashing when it was time to like skin.
The body's not game ready, just the head.
Well, even the head is not game ready at the end. I really like it because I posed the character in ZBrush. I did not use the skinning to pose him. So when I imported the character back in Unreal, I needed to import it into Metahuman first. And since the head was like unaligned, it looked like a nightmare in Metahuman. But I knew that like once it just like translated into like an Unreal scene, it would like just pop back to the position that it was. But it was just like a nightmare. It was like all disoriented and stuff. But I did like what I wanted to do was to use the textures. I actually ended up changing the textures, to be honest. I just took some like 3D SK face texture, but like at least like I have like the peach fuzz and like the eyebrows, the eyebrows and like the eyelashes and the wet little place of the eye. Basically, the only part that I didn't really change from the Metahuman was the shape of the eyes. But even then, the sides, I wanted them to be like higher, to be a little bit more like feminine and elfish, right? He's not like fully elf. Like I kind of like toned it down to like more like a human shape to fit with the clair obscur look. But the eyes, just changing the shape of the eyes was such a problem because I needed to realign all of the like the face guts and everything. So I was like, I'm just gonna make sure the eyes I'm happy in Metahuman, and the rest I know that I can just like reshape it in ZBrush afterwards. So that's what I did. But it was still like a pretty hardcore to bridge the character
to your stuff.
Did
because
you
like
the ZBrush cloth deformation for the quilted purple stuff, or is that done with Marvelous? Or did you just sculpt?
This is an example of like just ZBrush using the compression thing and then just sculpting to make sure I get like the good like sharpness and everything. The shirt is actually all sculpted by hand on this one, just because like there was like this like symbol here and I really just didn't want it to deform in a weird way, so I kind of like sculpted by hand the rest. And and the pants here also is just like compression in ZBrush. The pants I'm not like super happy of the result, but it's not like the important part of the character, so I kind of like let this one go for just like the sake of going faster to other parts of the character that I really wanted to focus on, like the Master Sword. Like it's like the first thing that I did was the Master Sword, which I did for my son, and he was like, okay, do the whole character now, and I was like, okay, Captain. But plus like I mean when I played Clair Obscur, I freaked out. I loved that game so much that like it became it became like a surge of inspiration for me. So
I'm not gonna spoil it for anyone. I love the game. hate the ending.
Yeah, sure. I am
I
fine with the ending, but
you're like I don't like the fact that I had to make a choice. I want them to tell me what the
right.
choice is.
Yeah, sometimes I don't like games where they make you make a choice
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you
yeah,
don't
yeah.
like any of the choices or
Yeah,
that
yeah,
sort
yeah.
of stuff.
Like, I'm playing your game
It's
for you to tell me your story. You tell me the choice.
Yeah, exactly. But you know, the opposite also exists. Like I hate the end of Last of Us because they make me do something that I would have not done that. So the only way that I can make my choice is by stopping playing the game. But then
Yeah.
I don't see the game. So I remember doing the last part of like Last of Us Part 1, and I was just like, fuck you game, making me shoot on people that I don't want to
Yeah.
shoot and blah blah blah. It's like
Yeah.
I just like removed all my emotions and I was like, whatever. It's like a movie. It's fine. We're witnessing somebody making bad choices, and you can be like, you're a piece of shit. But like
Yeah.
when like you play a game, you're just like, what? I'm the piece of shit now. What's happening?
Is this
But
rendered in Toolbag?
no, this one is Arnold actually.
Arnold, okay.
I don't like to use renderers like that anymore. I really try to use Unreal now because I really love to be able to look around my character and to see the results. But like for example, like I said, I'm doing the 4th Archangel soon, but I just don't know if it's gonna fit in Unreal. Like I know that like I would not be able to render like death in Unreal because of the amount of UDIMs.
Yeah.
Maybe I got enough of a good computer now to do it, but I don't know. I'm gonna try
What's
because
the Substance Painter be like? How much of it? Well, you Substance Painter is your guy. Like, how much of your I'm pretty sure you probably have the horse in the Substance Painter file, and then the rest of it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. You
It's
need two 5090s.
Yeah, exactly.
Bradley always has me open up Task Manager and then looks at how upside down I am when I'm trying to do stuff.
Oh yeah, I understand. Like I had to actually open Task Manager a few times. I was like, it's going to be a disaster, man.
I'm like, I have a 5090, man. Like, this is not supposed to be a problem that I'm dealing with. This is some bull crap.
Yeah, exactly. No, but it's like yeah, whatever. Some pieces are like too big for sure, but and I have to kind of like use many tools for it. If I can get to use
Arnold,
the tool that I want, I would use Unreal.
CPU rendering in Arnold.
Sorry, what?
You must be CPU rendering in Arnold.
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
My friend tells me I'm stupid for not GPU rendering in Arnold because like it's much faster.
Probably how you're able to load these big files in there.
Yeah, there's a chance for sure. I find that it's a little bit blurrier with like GPU rendering as well, but like you could just put like a sharpen filter to help. But I still did it in CPU. I thought it was like better. But yeah, no, if I can use Unreal, man, I'll use Unreal now because I just love it. Just like this character being able to have like fire VFX and just like splice like a few rocks everywhere. Like if you would look at the scene, it's disgusting. It's like none of the rocks are the same color. But it's just like with enough like post-production, like in the scene and exposure and this and that and focus and whatever, it ends up being like just dandy.
Some selective bokeh gets you a long way.
Yeah, exactly. But that's just a testament to what I said earlier. It's just like if you know what you're aiming to do at the end, then you know where to focus and where to not focus. And the places that you don't focus on, man, you can save a ton of time with that. I'd say that like this is the first time I was doing like an environment with Unreal, and I was kind of like not really sure, so I had to do a lot of tries to get something that I liked. So yes, of course, I lost a lot of time in the experimentation of the thing, but experimenting can be really fun for sure. Like you're not saving on time, but you're learning for the long run, basically.
Yeah, definitely. Well, listen, man. I could stay in here all night with you. Bradley and I haven't had dinner yet, and it's 11 o'clock. This has been a treat. Two giant fans over here, and
now I know you're going to answer my emails if I email you. So it's amazing.
Yeah,
Mm.
exactly. Yeah, man.
And
I mean, it's
and there was
there
some
we go.
advice you gave earlier that I'm going to take advantage of, and I'm not going to tell you what part it is. Bradley
Oh
knows.
yeah. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
am going to have to guess.
Yeah,
Well, I don't want to, I don't want to mess up our great relationship here. But yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah,
I think I know which one. I think
but
yeah.
man,
But
it was
anyway,
amazing. Thank you. I learned so much, and like, it's been an honor to one contribute you to my first job, and just say
yeah.
thank you for the free knowledge,
yeah.
and hopefully one day I could afford one of your sketch statues that you made. That's not scary.
Mm. Yeah, he doesn't like scary things.
It's all good, man. It's all good. Hey, seriously, that was a blast. You guys are really fun to talk to. It was really cool. Thanks for inviting me. I always
Thanks for
like to
coming,
talk
man.
about that sort of stuff, and so, dude, I mean, maybe another time we can do that again. That would be great.
Definitely,
Nice.
definitely. Thanks, man. We loved having you.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for having me again. Bye.
All
All
right,
right.
brother. Have a good night.
Peace.